Microphone check. Hey, thank God it's Thursday, and I'm very, very sorry for being late today. I just didn't have all the details I wanted before the show started, and I was working on it, and then I found a video actually that did all the work for me. If I would have found it a little earlier, we would have been here a little bit earlier, but it's nice to be here. Thanks, guys, for being patient, and welcome to another day of RTP Talks. RTP Talks. That's harder to say than I think. I actually had to make a video recently explaining who I was, and I realized during that video that saying RTP Talks is not easy. RT Talks would be easier. RP Talks would be easier. I didn't think about the difficulty of saying three letters and then talks at the end. So there we go. Rasta Hat Boy. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are as confused by what's happening in this country as I am. We're just like a scam. I think that's where we're at now. Like America is just a scam. Everything we're doing is just a scam. Our economy is entirely fraudulent. Just another day in Trump world. We'll see what happens. My boyfriend calls you Ruth Tater Pinsberg. RDP. You just say it like it's a name. RDP. Oh yeah, RDP. I'm going to say it like that. That's good advice. That's way easier. RDP Talks. Yeah, I like that. Is that why you guys had issues with your name a few weeks ago? Oh, the guy debated? I don't know. He kept getting the number or the letter wrong. I can't remember what he kept saying. I think maybe he kept saying RPT. What was he saying the other day? Okay, he got it wrong for like 30 straight minutes. If he wasn't doing that on purpose, shout out to him. If he was doing it on purpose, he's a pretty good actor. What does my name stand for? I guess I haven't answered that in a while. A long time ago, many years ago, my friends and I tried to start a podcast about sports, and it was riding the pine. Like we were bench warmers. We didn't want to pretend to be experts. And then we had made a logo for that. And when I started doing sports betting, I just like repurposed the logo as Riding the Pine Bets, and I just shortened it to RTP. So it was RTP Bets. That was my handle. And then when that I don't know if it fell apart. It kind of fell apart. I just changed it to RTP Talks. That's when I was doing political commentary at that point, and then it stuck. So it just kind of was there. Honestly, it doesn't have a great deal of meaning. There was already a username, there was already a logo, and so I just ran with it. Anyways, lack of education is killing this country, Joseph. Thank you very much. I agree with that. Let's kick this off with our guy, Tim Walz. I posted this on Instagram earlier today. I've turned it into a reel so you can share it, but here was Tim Walz for the State of the Senate address in the Minnesota House chamber on Wednesday, which was, goddamn, that was yesterday. Incredible speech by Tim Walz. I highly recommend watching the whole thing. Tim Walz is just one of those people who he's an everyday person. He just happens to be the governor. He speaks plainly. He sees things clearly. He is able to message in a simple way, and I thought this was beautiful.
Now, in this
Riding
land
the peen.
of the free
What's up, Von Sweet?
and home of the brave, we have university students being swept up, shoved into unmarked vans, and fathers being tossed into Salvadorian gulags without a hint of due process. So I want to be real clear about this. If you say you love freedom, but you don't believe freedom is for everybody, then the thing you love isn't freedom, it's privilege.
How do you not stand for that? How do you not stand up for that, Republicans here? How is that? How are you? I mean, I guess like I think politically sometimes I don't want to pretend like you probably couldn't do this the other way, but that was so powerful. Like it was so powerful, and then there's like, nah, we're not standing up for that shit. That just seems like an easy one. That seems like one everybody could get on board with. I don't know why we can't as a country. I think this is a strange time. I think it's a strange time that with all the history we've learned, I don't think any of us expected this many people to go along with this type of deportation. I think we expected a lot of people to go along with deportation, and a lot of people. I expected a lot of people to want more stringent border policies and immigration policies. It just really is. It is baffling to see this many people go along with the cruelty and the incompetence and continuously back it up. I'm not going to show it here because it's a child, but there's a viral video going around of a child at a immigration hearing, like representing themselves. They can't be more than 4 years old with headphones on, and I think a judge is like, "Do you understand why you're here?" And it's like, "No, I have no idea." It was payback for not standing for DJ. Is it DJ? Who's DJ? Oh, DJ. That's right. It's DJ, the little kid. That little dude. That sucks. I feel so bad about that kid because it's a great story. But then he's out there the next day in front of the White House and he's like, "I'm coming for you libs. I'm gonna pull you over." He's just like, he's indoctrinated to like be one of those shitty cops already. If you're a lib, I'm on your ass. It's like that's probably not something you should teach children. That they can go be cops just so they can chase down libs. I think we're gonna get a lot of clips from the Pete Buttigieg appearance on Flagrant podcast. I still haven't watched it yet. In fact, I think it released yesterday. But this was as somebody who's adopted, and when my parents went through that process, my adoption process was a little bit different. I have an older brother and an older sister who were both adopted as well. And they were adopted through LDS Family Services because the Mormon Church used to have an adoption agency until legitimately what happened is they told adoption agencies they couldn't discriminate against same-sex couples. And so the Mormon Church got rid of their adoption agency, which was good because they were legitimately trafficking children. They were just taking children from other countries. There's a guy down here in Arizona. I think he was like the county recorder or something. I don't remember exactly what his role was, but he was going to Mauritius. I think it might have been Mauritius, and he was I don't know if I said that correctly, but he was going there, and he was telling the parents that their kids were going to come to America, get an education, and he didn't tell them that he was adopting out their children, that they would have no legal rights to their children. And then he got caught doing that finally, and he was funneling that all through LDS Family Services. So good thing that they're not involved anymore. But I know that it can be kind of a process. So with LDS Family Services, my parents were not allowed to adopt another kid within a certain amount of time. So they adopted my brother. 5 years later, or 4.5 years later, they adopted my sister. And then you have a rule that if you adopt a child through LDS Family Services, you cannot adopt another child through any services for 6 months. And my sister's birthday was on the 11th. My due date was on the 11th, literally 6 months later. So there was like this weird plan in place where I was going to go to my uncle if I was born before the 11th. There was like this whole other plan in place to circumvent the law. I wound up being late because my biological mom, who may be here today, she was just lazy, I guess. I don't know. She could have got it done earlier. She could have got it done on time. I guess she was just lazy. And so it was, I was 8 days late. Anyways, think about that. Like just Pete Buttigieg here is telling a story of the twins that they adopted, and they were just on a list. And that's how it works. Like my mom just got a phone call saying, "Hey, there's a child that is looking for adoption. You guys are on the list. We know there's complications. We know you just adopted a child. Would you like to adopt another child?" I don't know how it all sounds bizarre, actually, when you say it this way without the emotion. But Pete Buttigieg told this story, and it shows a couple of things. One, it shows how great Pete Buttigieg and his husband are, that there were no real conditions for how they adopted. They were just like, we just want to help some children. We want to have a family. We'd like to be able to adopt. They didn't add a bunch of conditions. It shows how quickly Pete was willing to drop everything he's doing to be a parent and how much Pete wanted to be a parent. I think a lot of times the people on the right say they're so focused on this idea of the traditional family with a mother and a father, and they're so afraid of anything different that they discriminate against people who will be great parents, who are desperate to be parents, who just want to love children and raise a family. So this was really powerful, and I think Pete Buttigieg's appearance on Flagrant was probably really beneficial. I think we're going to have clip after clip after clip for weeks of Pete Buttigieg talking to these right-wingers who can't help but like him.
Have you thought about, like, when your son gets older, his experience in the world probably different from yours? Like, how would you have those convos with him? Or even, let's say, your daughter, like, learning to deal with her hair. It's going to be a little difficult. Like, how have you thought about these things? Do they concern you?
Yeah, we think about it all the time, and it's not like we have it all figured out. So
Thanks,
we were
FOD.
But if anybody knows how important identity is, you know,
of course. So we were in what's called a surprise adoption scenario. So we literally I was at work. I was traveling. We got a phone call. Chaston called me. And the next day, we were in a rural Midwestern hospital holding him in our arms, and they were like 1 day old. Like, it was like that, like just from like normal life to like. And by the way, it's twins, which was amazing.
You didn't know it was twins before.
We were just on a list. You know, we said that we were willing to adopt, or we wanted to adopt. We said that we wanted to adopt, without regard for race. By the way, anybody who says race is not a thing in this country should experience an adoption process where there are literally different lists. If you say that you want a white kid only versus if you say that doesn't matter. Like, literally a different list.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
The list for white kid only is longer. And not only that, there was actually a
That's fucking crazy. This is almost as bad as watching CNN. Well, go watch CNN then. Go watch something else. That's fucking crazy. The list to adopt a white child is longer. And he's gonna throw some other factoids in here. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, try and tell somebody that race doesn't matter. Like, we're undoing DEI initiatives because Republicans are like, oh no, we passed that already. Race doesn't matter, and yet there's different lists. Like, if you just want a white kid only, and I don't know. I don't know if I care that list exists or not, but. The mere fact that there is a list and the list for a white child is longer just goes to show, at the very least, that people who are adopting children, at the very least, they understand that adopting a child who is white will make their life less complicated. That they will face less challenges. I mean, the only reason I say, Bree, I'm not sure if I care, is because I don't want if it's one list. I would hate to see kids winding up with parents who are racist. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's almost like I'm a little bit glad that list exists. I would hate to be a different way where you just have people that adopt kids and they're nice if they get a white kid, they're mean if they get a black kid. I think that would be a problem, but.
Or you didn't have to pay a deposit on the fee. This is like how it works. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. So we didn't know anything about the racial identity of the kids until they started to look mixed race, which they are. And like contending with like the hair thing is already like a thing. And like lots of advice, especially from like black parents who like see stuff on Instagram or they're like, let me tell you how to do it. Like a lot of advice. And like to begin with, like the idea of being a girl dad and dealing with girl hair was pretty intimidating. Like my hair is like very simple and straightforward. Obviously I'm a low maintenance kind of guy, and like starting to learn about like all the different products that are involved. Him too. Like we have like a whole sequence with, you know, a conditioner and then essential oils, all this stuff. And you're always asking yourself, like, you're already constantly asking yourself, how can I be a good dad? And now it's like, how can I be a good dad for kids who have a different racial identity than I do? And, how can I help them navigate that? And what are the circumstances where there's nothing I can do to help them navigate that? And I need to connect them up to mentors and people in their lives, because the reality is like, this is not a colorblind society, and like their lives will be affected in some way by their racial. All of ours are, but one thing about being white is you don't have to think about the fact that when you're white, your racial identity is not something that you're reminded of all the time, in a way that they will be. And we live in a not super diverse, although it's getting more diverse, part of Michigan. But our hope is that they will, by the time they're old enough to even be wondering and thinking about these things, which I know is coming sooner than we think, that they know that they are loved and that they are safe and that they're growing up into a world that has so much possibility for them.
What is this? This YouTube thing is wild. These YouTube spammers are crazy. Listen, Guys, can you just not? I don't know. I won't talk to you, I guess. It's just spammers. That's wild. Sorry for anybody in the YouTube chat. You can go to the Twitch chat if you don't want to be spammed by a bunch of racists. Oh, that's who they are? Jesus Christ. Jen just sent me a screenshot of all the messages that person has sent, and we're just back at it again. That's wild. Sorry, yeah. So if you're seeing that in the YouTube chat, I recommend Twitch. A little easier over there to not have to see insane shit. All right, this just made me laugh. So if you've been following for a while, you know that I'm not a fan of Andy Biggs. He's my congressman, and now he's running for governor. And this came out today from Trump. He said Karen Taylor Robson is also a psychopath running for governor. Arizona Republicans have not figured out yet how to win a governor's race. They keep putting up psychos. If they just put up, like, they ran Doug Ducey, he'd probably win. But they won't put up a QAnon candidate to run for governor. So you got two of those. Trump said, I like Karen Taylor Robson of Arizona a lot, and when she asked me to endorse her with nobody else running, I endorsed her and was happy to do so. When Andy Biggs decided to run for governor, quite unexpectedly, I had a problem. Two fantastic candidates, two terrific people, two wonderful champions, and it is therefore my great honor to give my complete and total endorsement to both. Just both. Either one will never let you down. Make America great again. Andy Biggs is thrilled. Thank you, Trump. It's been an honor to support you and fight for your agenda since 2016. He's not going to win the governor's race. Even if Andy Biggs had good ideas, just like his personality is off-putting, he has no shot in the Arizona governor's race. He won't get through the Republican nomination. Like, Republicans don't like Andy Biggs. Everything about Andy Biggs is off-putting. But congratulations to Andy Biggs for your half endorsement. This is fucking crazy. This is fucking crazy. What is this? Dude, why do you think they do this? For those of you who are on YouTube, why do you think what's the plan with these messages? What's the plan with these comments? I don't know if anybody's over there. Our YouTube might get taken down. I don't know. That is crazy. All right. Trump issued some weird executive orders yesterday, and he does every day. And I do want to point out once again how strange it is that Donald Trump sits here and this Stephen Miller wannabe reads him an executive order. And Trump asks him questions like, what is this? And then he tells him, and then Trump just signs it. It's a very bizarre way of going about this, because it's clear that Trump doesn't know what most of these executive orders are. In fact, most of these executive orders are executive orders he signed his first time around, too. He's just like redoing executive orders. It's just kind of a fun thing. It's good to see the MAGA merch here. This motherfucker can't have a meeting without selling merch. We are cute. It's like QVC now. It's they sold ads for the Easter brunch. He's selling merch. There's a bigger story that dropped today that we'll get to towards the end. Everything about this guy is just cheap. Like, he just wants to sell you cheap shit all the time. Ironically, while also doing a trade war with China. But here's the first executive order that I thought was bizarre yesterday.
Executive order on school discipline policies. Under, I believe it was the Biden administration, first Obama and then Biden, the Department of Justice issued guidance that made it almost impossible for schools to enforce adequate disciplinary policies. This created issues in the classroom for teachers and students alike. Basically, they focused on CRT and sort of diversity ideology instead of actually just enforcing the rules in classrooms to ensure a safe learning environment. This executive order revokes that prior guidance and puts us back in a place where hopefully the Department of Education can focus on education and teachers can focus on teaching in a safe.
So this was kind of weird, like talking about discipline. My first thought was, are they going to let teachers hit kids again? That's not what this is. And like all things, the way that they prefaced these executive orders is dog shit. I'm going to show you exactly what this executive order is in a second, but let me finish the video.
Environment.
And this was important for you, Linda, as I understand it.
Yeah, absolutely, because it gives teachers the authority now to have discipline in their classroom and discipline the person who is being disruptive.
So she doesn't know either. He doesn't know. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. Neither of these three people right here that are shaking their heads and Trump nodding in agreement. Oh, yeah. Trump, he agrees. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I'll sign it. Let me just show you what the executive order is. First of all, it's actually hard to find the stuff that he references because they have gone through and they've erased all of these. So this is the letter that they were talking about. They're addressing this letter that was sent in 2014 from the Department of Justice, and it said, "Dear colleague," but it went out to schools everywhere. This has been removed from the government's websites, which is why I had to use the Wayback Machine to find it. I think I highlighted it down here. But basically, this is what they're talking about. So these were just guidelines given out to educators. And it was basically to say, like, if you are going to have, if you're going to discipline children, you need to make sure that the discipline isn't something that disproportionately is going to affect people of a certain race or religion or gender. And they even drew out a flow chart of how to figure out how to do this. This is what they're undoing, just so we're clear. This is the thing that they've decided was so important they needed to write an executive order to undo. So in the flow chart here, it says, did the school limit or deny educational services, benefits, or opportunities to a student or group of students of a particular race by treating them differently from a similarly situated student or group of students of another race in the disciplinary process? If no, then do nothing. If you did not do that, that's the first step. The first step is say, did this disproportionately affect students of a particular race or gender? If no, do nothing. If yes, then you have another option, because we're not done yet. If yes, you don't just change the rules. There's a whole flow chart on how to do this. If the students are similarly situated and the school has treated them differently, then can the school articulate a legitimate, non-discriminatory reason for a different treatment? If not, the departments could find that the school has intentionally discriminated on race. If there's no legitimate reason why they did that, then sure, they can be found to have intentionally discriminated. If there is a reason that you can articulate, if yes is the reason articulated a pretext for discrimination, some of the circumstances where the departments may find that the school's stated reason is a pretext, in other words, not the true reason for the school's action, are the asserted reason does not explain the school's actions, witnesses contradict the school's stated reason for the disparity, exposing such reason as false. Similar instances of misbehavior by students of other races have received different sanctions, or the sanctions imposed do not conform to the school's permitted discipline sanctions and its written discipline policy. So if you say then, now you've articulated a reason, but if you articulate the reason and that's not backed up by witnesses, or if you have one group of children of one race and one group of children of the other race, and they're both doing the same thing wrong, but only the group that was disciplined from one race is disciplined in that way, and a different race is disciplined in a different way, then you have a problem. Can somebody explain why we need to undo this? Why are we undo? If the reason is not a pretext for discrimination, then the departments would likely find that the school has not engaged in discrimination. So if you go through this whole flow chart, if a parent comes to you and says, my kid was mistreated because of their race, this is what you do. You go through this flow chart and you look at the situation. Each situation, you go, okay, maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Go through the flow chart, and that's how you make your decision. Why do we need to do an executive order to get rid of this? Yeah, I'm actually distraught that we need a flow chart to explain racism, but here we are. Well, that's the main thing, right? The main thing is that you have to have this, because if a teacher, let's just say that a teacher happens to be racist and they're punishing some children and not other children depending on their race. And you go to that teacher and you say, hey, it's only this race of people who are being punished. And the teacher goes, no, I'm not racist. It just was happenstance. This makes it so that you don't have to just take the teacher's word for it. You can look into it. This is how the schools identify this. This is all sensible. Why did we need an executive order on doing this? And now that you've heard that executive order, let's go back to it and let's see, like, is what they're saying true of what this executive order or what this letter did? They talk about this letter as if it was such a fucking problem that teachers could not teach. Teachers couldn't discipline. This letter, this flowchart only says that if you are going to discipline children, it needs to be for behavior that applies to all the children. That's all it says. This is the opposite of what they think DEI is. This is the opposite of CRT. Listen to how they position it, though. Now knowing what it was, let's go and figure out how they position this.
Sir, we have an executive order on school discipline policies. Under, I believe it was the Biden administration, first Obama and then Biden, the Department of Justice issued guidance that made it almost impossible for schools to enforce adequate disciplinary policies. This created issues in the classroom for teachers and students alike. Basically, they focused on CRT and sort of diversity ideology instead of actually just enforcing the rules in classrooms to ensure a safe learning environment.
Okay, that's obviously not what that letter was, right? Obviously. So now you got to ask the question, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they undoing this? If you need to undo that flowchart, we get rid of that flowchart. Now what does it do? Now the teacher who, for example, I had a basketball coach who I love dearly. He was the best coach that I ever had. He was hard on me. He was fair. We're still good friends to this day. But he had a rule, like with the way that we had our hair. Like we couldn't have our hair a certain length. It had to be short. You couldn't have it in like braids. You couldn't let it grow out. You couldn't have long shaggy hair. It couldn't fall on your face. And he had come from like the Orange County part of California. And he came and he coached us in Utah. And then, and by the way, I as far as I know, from the time I was alive until the time I was in high school, as far as I know, we had one non-white basketball player on our team, as far as I know, from the time I can remember. Later on, he got these. There were these two kids that had moved into our state. Their dad had played football at BYU, and he was black, and it was actually two cousins, and one of them grew their hair out, and one of them had braids, and he changed the rule. And I asked him about that later because I'm like, why didn't you let me grow my hair out? But suddenly you got this kid who happened to make it to the NBA, so. We were all just like, oh, he was just so good, he didn't have the rules. And he said that the parents had come to him and just said, hey, look, like by saying this, you're telling us that we must conform to like this culture. And he said it was a good conversation. They didn't demand anything. They just explained to him that like, culturally, this is how they wore their hair. It was part of their culture. And he's like, all right, I get it. What this would allow though is if that coach had let me grow out my hair or my friends grow out their hair, but told the black players you couldn't have braids, it would end right there. That would be the end of it. There's no flow chart. There's just like it's the coach's word versus the kid's word, and the coach can just do it. That's effectively what they're doing here. They're saying we have to get rid of this flow chart, and so if a teacher is discriminating, who the fuck cares? We just don't care if they discriminate. It's fine. I know my example was oversimplified and maybe a little bit silly, but that's what they're doing here. Why else would you need to undo this? Why else would you need to say anything? Why are they saying CRT? Why are they saying DEI? Because they know if they say those words, when they remove protections for discrimination, they can do it by pretending like, oh, it's not that we don't want protections for people, it's that it went too far. Nobody's going to argue that in that letter to colleagues that it went too far. Nobody is. That was as simple as it could be. And that's I don't even think, again, Trump doesn't know what he's signing. The Secretary of Education doesn't know what he's signing. They clearly, none of them know what's in this, what this is about. But we do know who's writing policy. We do know who's writing these executive orders. It's the people at Heritage Foundation. It's Stephen Miller. It's the white nationalist that he brought in that you guys are like, oh, don't worry about the white nationalist. This guy's lazy as shit, and he's dumb. He's very lazy. He's very dumb. He lets everybody else kind of do what they want. So they give him this bullshit explanation. He's like, yeah, I'll sign it. I got my Secretary of Education right here. She's recapping it, and she's wrong. And now I'm going to sign it. Whatever you want to think about Trump, like if you think Trump is a great guy, we disagree. Whatever you think about him, whatever you think about Linda McMahon, this executive order is nonsensical, and it makes it much, much easier to discriminate against children. It makes it easier for racist teachers to not get in trouble for discriminating against children. So again, whatever you want to say about those two, they didn't write this order. He signed it, and he should be held accountable for signing it. But this is why we were worried about people like Russ Vought being in the administration. This is why we don't like Stephen Miller being in the administration, because they are unabashed white nationalists who want to be able to discriminate. So they write these executive orders with bullshit names like, oh, restoring justice for teachers' ability to what was it? Discipline. And then you go read what they actually did. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with discipline. It has everything to do with teachers being able to discriminate and not get in trouble for it. Dude sitting in his mom's basement calling billionaires dumb is peak leftism. Dude, fuck off forever with that. I don't know why you think that. Oh, he's calling billionaires. This lady right here on the left, she's a billionaire because her husband exploited labor. And her husband inherited a business from his dad that he didn't build. And then he started trafficking humans and screwing people over and became a billionaire. And she was along for the ride. And this guy right here inherited $300 million, and he blew all of it. But he's such a crybaby bitch and such a media whore that he was saved by being on a TV show. And now he's being saved, which we will see, by running scam after scam after scam. I am significantly smarter than Donald Trump. Significantly. And so is goddamn near everybody in this chat. I don't know why you guys think billionaire and smart is the same thing. This is one of the dumbest human beings ever to be elected in any office ever. He has no clue what he's doing. He rambles incoherently every single day. Yes, I am significantly smarter than this guy. And if you're a person who watches people and you only listen to people who have more wealth than you, you're an idiot. All they want to do is take your wealth. They just want to scam you out of your wealth too. You're an idiot if you think that those are the smartest people. They're not. We're going to get to that later. I'm going to show you just how dumb some of these billionaires are. Fortunately for them, there's a bunch of other dumb people in America who listen to them. Then the next executive order that Trump put up here was about accreditation. This is bizarre too. All right.
Next for you, sir, university accreditation is currently a process controlled by a number of third-party organizations. That's by statute, by law.
Jim Bob, you already did that joke. Hey, new rule. If somebody makes the same joke twice, they get muted for 5 minutes. Jim Bob, you've made that joke like 5 times already. It's not even that funny. White dudes for Harris cry in their closets. I wasn't part of the white dudes for Harris, but you gotta come up with better jokes, bud. We're gonna have to start making fun of you. We're going to have to start treating you guys poorly so you learn better behavior. We're going to have to treat you like Trump treats you. I know that's what you guys like. You need a strong father figure. We'll do that. That joke wasn't funny the first time, and the 8th time it's also not funny. You got to be better than that, MAGA. You're welcome to be here. We love having you here, but be a little better.
Next for you, sir, university accreditation is currently a process controlled by a number of third-party organizations. That's by statute, by law. Many of those third-party accreditors have relied on sort of woke ideology to...
By the way, third-party accreditors, the reason we have third-party accreditors is so that the accreditation process is not politicized. And one thing that Republicans hate more than anything is not being able to politicize things and not being able to force their politics into things. So third-party accreditors, the reason that they are third-party is so they're looking at curriculum, they're looking at real-world application, and they're looking at the results from colleges and how they teach. Like, are you preparing people for their job? That's why you do third-party accreditation rather than have it done through the executive branch, which at the very least changes every 8 years, sometimes every 4 years. It would be nonsensical to try and have an accreditation system where the people in charge of the accreditation system change every 4 years. I do want to add one thing that I just noticed. I forgot. Do you see this guy over here in the corner? This is former UFC fighter and former Navy SEAL Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy is blacklisted from basically all the Navy SEALs because he's a chronic fucking liar. He lies about missions that he went on. He disparages people that had higher ranks than him. He writes stories about them, about how they failed in battle and how he was the one that had to show up and teach them what to do. There was a podcast I used to listen to a lot. I'm trying to remember what it's called now. Of the former Navy SEALs who have just blown this guy's whole shit up. So naturally, the scummiest Navy SEAL in the world is in the office with Trump. Just want to point that out there.
Accredit universities instead of accrediting based on merit and performance. This executive order affects a number of changes to the university accreditation process, also applies to law schools and other sort of graduate programs. But the basic idea is to force accreditation to be focused on the merit and the actual results that these universities are providing, as opposed to how woke these universities have gotten. So we're setting up new accreditation pathways. We're charging the Department of Education to really look holistically at this accreditation mess and hopefully make it much better.
Will we look into the past people that they've taken? For instance, I hear all about certain great schools, and then we read where they're going to teach people basic math that we can all.
Okay, this is why I say this guy's a dumb motherfucker. What grade? When do you go to college? When you graduate high school, right? Why the fuck's he talking about grade school? What is he talking about here? He's so goddamn dumb. Nobody stops him. Sir. I said, sir, we're talking about colleges, you dumb motherfucker. Why are you talking about kindergarten now? Listen, he really is just like the dumbest. He has no clue what he's signing right now.
The past people that they've taken, for instance, I hear all about certain great schools, and then we read where they're going to teach people basic math that we can all do very easily, but they can't do. They're going to the top school, and they come out with a program of teaching basic math to somebody that got into a Harvard or a Princeton or a Yale.
Nobody's teaching, but yeah, now we've gone. Maybe he said great schools. Maybe that's what you don't learn basic math in college. He's mixed. He might have said great schools, but he's talking about like elementary education. You learn basic math in starting in. I mean, my daughter's going to kindergarten. It's in kindergarten. Nobody goes to school and they're like, 1 plus, or college, it's like 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 1 is 3. Sorry, that's a little far for MAGA. What is he talking about?
Is that part of this?
When universities are not performing appropriately, whether that's in admissions or whether that's in their actual instructional activities, that's certainly something that accreditors should be considering, that right now we believe they're not doing a good enough job of, and I think Secretary McMahon could probably speak to that better than I could.
So they're allowing people into school that can't do math, and yet kids who've worked really hard.
Where's that happening? And by the way, if you are letting kids into school, into colleges who can't do math, then that's a problem that's a problem with the public school system they came out of. Why are they graduating high school if they can't do math? Do you see how all of this is nonsense? It's all just bullshit. And I'll show you in a minute what they're actually doing, because this is all bullshit. That has nothing to do with this executive order. Trump, again, at best, he doesn't know what these executive orders are. That's best case scenario. At worst, he's just putting on a show. But I think, honestly, if I'm going to be very honest, he just doesn't know what he's signing. I don't even think he's trying to lie. I think what he's doing right now is trying to appear smart and trying to appear like he knows what this is about, and he clearly doesn't.
And number one in their class in a high school someplace in New Jersey or in Mississippi.
I agree with that. This dude is always crying. This Donald Trump guy is always crying.
They can't get into the best schools. What is that all about?
Yeah, and I think that gets to your policy, sir, of meritocracy, that we should be looking at those who have real merit to get in, and we have to look harder at those universities that aren't enforcing that.
Okay, thank you. And this pretty much does it, right?
Yes, sir.
No, not even remotely. But do you see that? This is what it says? Yeah, that's what it says. All right, I'll just sign it. All right, let's look at what it really says. Ironically enough, what this is a pro DEI bill. Shit, that's the wrong one. Ah, son of a bitch. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I thought I didn't put it on here. Let me go to whitehouse.gov. Go over here. This was the accreditation. All right. Where is it? I think I highlighted it. Yeah, here it is. All right. Here's what it really is. Here's one of the things that is unironically they're doing. Accreditation requires that institutions support and appropriately prioritize intellectual diversity amongst faculty in order to advance academic freedom, intellectually inquiry, and student learning. Hold on. You have to have intellectual diversity? What if the people that have diversity of thought are flat earthers? This is pro DEI. But this is like, hey, you got to let the stupid people teach too. You can't just have the smart ones. You can't have just the people who do math and science. You got to have the dumb ones too. Guys, it's not fair if you don't let the dumb ones in. How come Harvard's not hiring people from Louisiana very often? How come we can't get any of our rednecks from northern Florida jobs at Stanford? Because they're fucking dumb. Well, what if we did an executive order that said that even if you're dumb, you have to have a job for diversity? We got to have diversity of smart and dumb. Is this meritocracy? What is meritocratic about this? What is intellectual diversity? What is that? Yeah, they want the earth is 6,000 years old. All right, but we came from that other class where they did science. Well, I don't like science. I got my information from the Bible. You know, that's the students at Harvard are gonna be thrilled to learn about how like civilization, the human species actually came from a fucking rib. And we weren't going to have a human species, but then that fucking Eve went out there, just had to have an apple. And so then God's like, well, I better take that rib from Adam and make it. And you're like, man, that's weird. I had 2 classes today. One of them explained evolution, and the other one said that women were made from a rib. They're mad that they're dumb. That's what anti-DEI is. They talk about meritocracy, but what they're really finding is that they're dumb. And that's going to happen with conservatives. Conservatism is kind of like this. It's a wave. Conservatives will adjust. They'll learn new things, and they're like, we're not learning anything new. And then they just stand still for 30 years, and the whole world passes them by. And 30 years later, they just look like morons. So they're like, this isn't fair. Everything's unfair to us. The schools aren't teaching stuff that's been debunked 30 years ago anymore. We should have more say in this. So they're forcing schools to be dumber in the name of diversity. What the fuck is meritocratic about that? Meritocratic. Resume recognizing new accreditors to increase competition and accountability in promoting high-quality, high-value academic programs focused on student outcomes. Oh, I wonder who these new accreditors are going to be. I bet they come from Liberty University. Maybe they'll come out of, what's that awful shit? What is that? What's that guy's name that does the university? The online stuff where he like hires Candace Owens to make videos for him. Help me about that. Help me with that. That's shit. What is it? Prager University? They're gonna be accredited. Brigham Young University now has decided They're going to be in charge of the accreditation. Let's put you know who they should have chair that committee is Marjorie Taylor Greene. We should have that. I like it. I like that you guys are telling me I'm misinformed. I'm reading the fucking thing off the website. This is whitehouse.gov. I'm just reading the words. You're so misinformed. You shouldn't be reading the words of the action that he signed. You should just listen to what Donald Trump said like we do. Mandate. Now we got mandates here. Mandate that accreditors require member institutions to use data on program level student outcomes to improve such outcomes without reference to race, ethnicity, or sex. So if you have a education program, and again, that's why we had to get rid of that flow chart, is because if you create an education program that makes it so it's more difficult for women, perhaps it's better for white Christian men, and they get higher marks when they follow whatever it might be. Like if you teach them about Christianity, you teach them about having a traditional family, you teach them about masculinity. This is all about anti-meritocratic. This is all about a bunch of fear-mongering pussy white nationalists who are like, I don't like that we're being passed up, so we have to change the laws again. America was better when anybody who was smarter or better than us could just push them down. We didn't have to do any of this shit anymore. Does this sound like anything like what they talked about in the announcement? Is this anything like what they talked about in the announcement? No, of course not. This is what happens when Donald Trump doesn't want to do policy. He doesn't want to get into any of this. So he just hires the Heritage Foundation to write all his policy, and then he just signs it. He literally asked him, is that what this is? Yeah, that's what it is. No, that's not what it was. He just said what he thinks it was. That's not what it is. And he signed it anyways. And you guys are mad at me. Brian said, this is how Liberty University becomes the new Harvard. Yeah, you know what we're also going to see? We're also going to see people from other countries not coming here to school anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to Harvard anymore. What are you talking about? We have to have an opening prayer. You must say the Pledge of Allegiance every 30 minutes. MAGA hats are mandatory. Here's the president of Harvard actually talking about this and talking about the bullshit from this administration. Now, this is why it's easy for Trump, and this is why the people in the MAGA in this chat are mad. What they do is they say that the educated are not smarter. Being educated doesn't give you a leg up. In fact, it's all a scam. They say that so that dumb people are like, oh, everybody's the same? I could be a doctor? Yeah, the only reason I'm not a doctor is because I knew college was a scam. Big farm, it's all a scam. All you really need to do is do push-ups in the morning, eat beef liver, cook every single item that you eat in beef tallow, and take testosterone, and then you're just as smart as everybody else. Here's what the president of Harvard is talking about. There's been many things that the Trump administration has tried to do to Harvard. One of it is that they want to control who they hire. Obviously, they want to control their admission standards. Obviously, they want to force right-wingers in. And Harvard's saying, look, this is an attack on our freedom. This is an attack on our ability to run our institution how we want to. It's an attack on our First Amendment right, and it's an attack on our students who choose to come to Harvard. It's not like they get pushed into Harvard. They choose to go to Harvard for a reason. They don't want a religious education. They're not looking for that. They're not looking for an education that teaches them that there's no such thing as racism. That's not why they go to Harvard.
Is that they want to directly review who we hire on our faculty. That has implications for what kinds of views can be expressed on campus.
And this is where we get the real dad. Hire the Latino, Asian, lesbian, not the rocket scientist. Nobody's hiring somebody to be a rocket scientist who isn't a rocket scientist. Maybe the rocket scientist happens to be Latino, Asian, lesbian. You think that companies are out there hiring rocket scientists who aren't rocket scientists because of DEI? Is that honestly what you think is happening? This is why he loves you. They say shit like that to you. You're like, oh, gobble that up. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's why. By the way, the only place that seems to have a hard time with their rockets blowing up is like the one organization who refuses to hire a meritocracy. That's SpaceX. Their shit blows up all the time. DEI is ruining us. I think it's your scientists. Might be your rocket scientists. Maybe you need to get some lesbian, Asian, Latina rocket scientists. Maybe that's the problem.
We want to directly review who we hire on our faculty. That has implications for what kinds of views can be expressed on campus. They also want to be able to tell us who we need to fire. And they also want to intervene in our admissions processes. That is what we are objecting to.
You're taking on the most powerful man in the world.
We are defending what I believe is one of the most important linchpins of the American economy and way of life, our universities.
How much pain?
How did we go, MAGA, I'd like to know, how did you guys go from Facebook can't control what is put up on their own website to we have to force Harvard to teach our ideology? How do we go from there? If Facebook does it, it's a problem. But if the government does it, if we use the heavy hand of the government to force something, then it's fine. How'd you become the way that you are? How the fuck did you get here? How did you go from like, oh, they're censoring our speech to we're going to force our opinions down their throats? How'd we get here? The government shouldn't be involved with Harvard. And when you guys say, oh, the government shouldn't give money to Harvard, yeah, they should. Yeah, they absolutely fucking should, because the government doesn't do any research. Because you guys don't allow us to hire research teams in the government. Because you guys have been telling us for years that you have to privatize research. So the government funds the research. If the government stops funding Harvard, who are they going to fund? Liberty University? We have determined that there is no such thing as climate change because Jesus changes the climate whenever he wants. Okay. This is what we desperately need the government to keep funding Harvard. This is why we're losing to China. This is why we're losing to countries all over the world, is because their government funds things. Their government funds new research. And their government isn't really like trying to say, oh, you need to make sure that you're teaching about two genders. You guys, I don't understand how you think that that you guys aren't authoritarians right now. You are demanding that Harvard hire professors that think like you, and you're withholding funds until they do it. That's not freedom of speech. That's what freedom of speech is about. I can tell you to fuck off. You can tell me to fuck off. You can tell me my stream is dog shit. You can tell me I live in my mom's basement. You can call me beta cuck. You can tell me that I have too much estrogen. You get to do all of that. That's freedom of speech. What freedom of speech protects is from the government coming in and compelling speech or shutting down your free speech. In this case, they are compelling speech, and you're standing by it while you're in here like complaining about freedom of speech. Yeah, they've really stripped away our freedom of speech, so what we ought to do is strip away freedom of speech. I don't know how you got here. Crystal says they want the death of critical thinking. Katrina says RTP is the sexiest human ever. I like that. I read that one for Brian already. This is a reminder in the middle of this video that we are crowdfunded, and I'll read anything that you write, and that includes you, MAGA. Send me a message. I'll read anything that you write. We've got Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. Those are above me. And then, of course, Super Chats. We have a daily goal that we try and meet every single day so we can keep the lights on here. Anything you could do to help with that would be terrific. We'll continue here.
And can Harvard absorb here?
We don't know how much we can actually absorb, but what we do know is that we cannot compromise on basic principles like defense of our First Amendment rights.
Is this bigger than Harvard at this point?
Of course it's bigger than Harvard because we look at what's at risk here. And what's at risk is the excellence of higher education in the United States, and in particular, the research mission of many of our universities, which play such a vital role in the U.S. economy and in the health and well-being of the American people.
Is this a fight you can win?
I don't know the answer to this question, but the stakes are so high that we have no choice.
Brother,
what they are in
S&D, what are you talking about, man? Intentionally trying to divide us over ridiculous topics that we already had figured out. I'm showing you Trump's executive orders where he's dividing us. I'm showing you a video of Trump trying to attack universities, and you still blame me. You still think it's me. I'm reporting on him. Do you know how boring this show would be? And frankly, I would love it. I would love it if every day I didn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and sort through all the crazy shit Trump lied about the day before. If I'm it's fair. If you don't like me, if you don't like this show, if you think I'm divisive, fine. But is there any part of you that recognizes I'm covering him? I'm covering his executive orders that he's lying about. What do you want us to do? How would you like us to proceed with America? You guys just got to stop talking about what he says. Just let him lie, and don't push back at all. You're the real problem, media. You guys have been convinced that I'm the problem. You should be celebrating that I exist. You should be celebrating that you're here, being able to share your opinion, because this administration doesn't want that to happen anymore. We're out here advocating for free speech. I'm advocating for you. We don't block people here. You guys get to come in here every day. You literally could say whatever you want about me. I invite every one of you every day to come up here and have a civil debate, and none of you will do it. This program is what's right with America. I have an opinion. You might not like it. I cover it in a way that I think is pretty fair, and I show my sources. And if you disagree with me, you get to come up here and talk about it. Or you get to sit in the chat and talk about it. This is what's right with America. This is good for America. What's wrong for America is when I cover this story, rather than figuring out how to defend it or to give the other side of this, which I'm sure you have. You're on the right, I'm on the left. We have different opinions. But rather than do that, you guys want to attack me? I'm just giving you the news. This is my job. I just give you the fucking news. This is good. Streamers that do this, good. Streamers on the right, streamers on Charlie Kirk, good. He's out there debating people right now. I can't fucking stand Charlie Kirk. But Charlie Kirk is out handing microphones to people. Not everybody. He's a little afraid of Dean. He's a little afraid of Parker. He's a little afraid of the TikTokers. Let's be honest about that. He didn't want to hear from Brett Cross. He's a little afraid. But he's out there handing out microphones. I can't stand that fucking guy, but I appreciate that he's doing it. Charlie Kirk's tour of America, good. And I don't like him. This shit that Trump's doing to silence speech, to force speech, to compel speech, bad. I'm pro-free speech. You think you're pro-free speech. I'm letting you do free speech. Trump doesn't want to do it. He wants to force Christianity down people's throats. I want you to disagree with me, and I want the people on my side to disagree with me, and God damn it, they do. They're very vocal about when they disagree with me. That's good. This is good. Shutting down speech, bad. I want you to disagree with me, but I do think it's silly that we're having this discussion about me being the problem when this is clearly the problem. Clearly, we've got a problem here where we're trying to force speech on people, force ideologies on people. Whatever you want to say about Harvard, those ideologies have not been forced on the students at Harvard. You have the right to go to Harvard. You know what they're going to teach at Harvard. And Harvard, God, this idea that Harvard is this leftist school. Bro, they run they are the reason that school's so expensive. They're the reason we have, or at least part of the reason that we have such a bastardized economy. They're the reason that we've allowed crony capitalism to take over. Most of the people that work in our government come from Harvard, and many of them are on the right. Most of the people in Trump's cabinet have come from these Ivy League schools. How did they escape these Ivy League schools and these liberal ideologies? How'd they stay so conservative then? Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people going to Harvard, especially studying economics or business, they just want to make money. They're just capitalists. So who cares? So why are you upset that they're oh, it's all right if we use different pronouns for different people? That's fine. That's really what this is about. You being uncomfortable with certain shit, and you don't like that they're saying it. Hey, Jen.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay, it's hit and miss sometimes. If you can hear me, it's weird. I was just reading, so this Tony, I think you were talking to him, the left dominating higher education, forcing left ideas. You could go to college if you want to have right-leaning ideas, but I mean, that's just a crazy idea. If you wanted to go to college, you could put your information on that side. Anyway, so I'm glad that everyone is able to be here, even our angry little trolls. So we do the show each day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific time. So we're glad you're here. So if you haven't already subscribed to us on Twitch, please do so. You can use your Amazon Prime sub. And please subscribe to us on YouTube. You could also remember to turn on your notifications so that you can see us. And we also have 4 different memberships over there if you'd like to join our team. If you guys disagree with Jay, you don't have to be in the comments. You could actually come on and talk. And how you do that is if you look at the Venmo, that's the same as my Discord username. So it's Jen, JENNWBB, the number 1. If you DM me on Discord, I can bring you on to talk to Jay in real time. So that's how you do it. You don't have to chirp from comments. Also check out our link tree. We are on most social media platforms and we've got different merchandise. So we have got about 2 hours, 10 minutes left of the show. So if you guys help us knock out the rest of that gift goal, that would be amazing. I think, I don't know if I told you about my other business venture. I recently opened up a company selling trampolines disguised as prayer mats.
Okay.
Profits are going through the roof.
Stupid. Get out of here. You got to go. Look, I got some of you guys worked up about. I'm not saying that the schools are not on the left. I would choose Justin. I would choose progressive. Schools are progressive by nature. They will always be progressive. That's what schools are meant to do. They research. They look into new ideas. Schools will always be progressive. College will never be, as long as the right means conservative in this country, schools will never be right-leaning. Conservatism by nature is not to explore. It's not exploratory. It's not inquisitive. This is what the truth is, and we don't deviate from this. So schools will always be progressive. I wasn't saying that schools aren't progressive. What I'm saying is that this idea, like they say all the time, oh, it's these communist, Marxist, left-wing schools. Well, then why don't we have communists and Marxists? We don't even have a single communist in office. Not a single Marxist in office. The closest we have is like some democratic socialists. I'm not telling you that the schools don't lean left because left means progressive. They always will. Every university ever is progressive. I grew up in Utah. My mom taught at Brigham Young University. The ideas and the rules at Brigham Young University now are way further left than they were when I lived there. And when I lived there, the rules were way further left than when my mom went to school there. No, it was after that. Jesus Christ. My parents both went to Brigham Young University before black people were allowed to have the priesthood. That was 1978. Every school will be progressive. Society is progressive. You are the brakes, we are the gas. That's always going to be how it is. And there's utility in being the brakes. There's utility in saying, like, slow down because you're going to lose some of the population. And I think that there are times when conservatives, and I think like my friends that are socialists, I had that debate with Sean and who else was I debating? Who was the other person with Sean? Kenzie. I had a debate with Sean and Kenzie, who are both socialists, maybe both communists. I was the conservative. I was the brakes. I said that I think if you become a communist or you become a socialist, if we try and force that, we're going to have revolution, we're going to have violence, and then there will be a power grab. There will be authoritarianism. I think the same thing about just free market, laissez-faire capitalism. I think the same thing about authoritarian. That's what we have right now, is that you guys are so upset about progressives. that you are willing to overlook basic rights because Donald Trump is a forceful person, and Donald Trump is forcing his ideology back into things. So you guys are willing to overlook authoritarianism because it matches your views. And that I have the same concern about socialists and communists who say we want to have like a violent overthrow. It's the same exact concern. I do not think that the best way to run a society is by having a strong leader force ideology. When we let America do its thing, like it's just progressive. A lot of times it's slower than we like, but this is forcing the brakes on a society who's moving, who's progressing, just like the whole world always is. I mean, in every era you guys existed, and in every era I existed, there have been progressives and conservatives in every era. But I would challenge any conservative in here to show me the time that conservatives were on the right side of history. Show me any significant movement in history and show me when the conservatives were on the right side of it. When you look at it that way, when you stop doing this Republican and Democrat shit and you go, oh, well, the Democrats were the party of slavery, because I know that's coming. When you just look at the ideologies of progressivism and conservatism, progressives are always on the right side of history. Every single time. And there are times that people take it too far, and you guys apply things to like our movement that don't exist. One of the ones we played the other day was from, I think it was a Rogan, or maybe I just posted it. I don't even remember. But Joe Rogan he put up this clip of like, all progressives, they call pedophiles minor attracted people. No, we don't. None of us do. That's only used in like in a sense where you might have somebody who comes in and says like, I struggle with this condition, because it's a condition. Like people, not everybody's attracted to minors. Not everybody is, but some people are. And if you're a person who just you have that in you for whatever reason, and you go and you get help, that's probably how they're going to label it, that you have attraction to minors, and you should get help. And there are things that you can do to work through that. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. But you guys get so caught up in labeling this fringe element and pretending that we're all that you're just allowing yourselves to be authoritarian. So ironically, the stuff that you said on election night, and I got some pushback for this, but I listened to you guys on election night. On election night, I opened up my phone lines, and it was just Republican after Republican after Republican, and they all came in to gloat. And they all told me, every one of them said the same thing. You guys lost because you called us fascists. You guys lost because you called us Nazis. And we're here to tell you that we're not Nazis, and that's why you lost. I was like, all right, cool. But now you're doing authoritarianism. Now you're doing fascism. So ironically, the thing we warned you about, that at the time you're like, we're not that. Now you're that. Now you're just doing it. Now you're just doing the fascism. You cannot tell me that Donald Trump is not an authoritarian. There's no scenario by which Donald Trump is not an authoritarian. He told the Supreme Court, no. I don't care. Say what, I'm not doing it. I will not do what you ask me to do. You're always on the wrong side of history if you're a conservative. If you find yourself in a moment where the nation is severely divided and you find yourself on the conservative side, history tells you that history will remember you as not only wrong, but as a bigot, as a racist, as wanting to other people, as an elitist, as a eugenicist. Every goddamn time, conservatives are on the wrong side of history. That's why I'm not a conservative anymore. I was so tired. I was so tired of losing that argument. I was so tired of being like, oh, that was ironically, that's the argument, right? Oh, that was conservatives 30 years ago, not now. Now we're cool. Yeah, how the fuck do you think you got that way? If you're a conservative here that is on board with marriage equality, which I think most of you probably are, most conservatives are on board with the marriage equality. I was a conservative when no conservatives were for marriage equality. We were fighting it everywhere. Churches were lining up, spending millions of dollars to fight marriage equality. How'd you get to be here? Because you were wrong. You were on the wrong side of history. It was conservatives in the state of Utah who were fighting, saying, no, you don't have to let black people have the priesthood. You don't have to involve them in your church. Don't listen to those woke libs, even though they were talking to God. Wrong side of history. Who were during segregation? No, we need to keep it the same. Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. That was the conservative line. Looking back, none of you would be like, "Oh, I was for that," but that was conservatism versus progressivism. The undoing of slavery, progressive idea. Fucking America is a progressive idea. America was tired. Like we were tired of having a strong man leader. We were tired of everybody just following orders of one man. And so we came across the ocean and we said, fuck you. We're not going to listen to one man. We're going to have freedom. We're going to work together. We're going to have democracy. We're going to have a representative republic. All ideas matter. We should have a diversity of ideas. We should have a diversity of thought. And here we are 250 years later, and you guys are like, just listen to the strong man. He's a billionaire. He's smarter than you. Just listen to him. That's what we do. We just do whatever he says. Every fucking time. Conservatives are on the wrong side of history. And you're on the wrong side of history right now, too. History will not remember this time well for you. You may cover it up, but you're doing right now, what you're doing right now, what you're supporting right now is absolutely no different than when World War II happened and we put Japanese Americans in internment camps. In fact, yours might be a little worse because you're taking people and you're imprisoning them in another country where they can never be released. The only silver lining you could probably put for the Japanese being put in internment camps during World War II was, well, we knew where they were, and when all was said and done, they were released. Still awful, still wrong, but this administration is like, we did learn from that. We learned from that, and what we're going to do is we're going to send them to another country, so when all is said and done, our hands are clean. It's not our fault. I wonder where you got that idea. Poland? I stand by the country that has the best president in history running it. Right bow. By no measure is Donald Trump the best president in history. By none, except for sycophancy. The only measure where Donald Trump is the best president in history is the amount of people who just say those words. Economically, he's a disaster. He's a disaster as he's a terrible leader. He has never come close to uniting the country. Again, you guys, you are the redcoats. You are the British. Just listen, guys. Just listen to the leader and follow. He's the greatest. I'll give you some evidence on that. Trump's polling is a nightmare for him right now. For the video, here's new polling, and just so you know, I know you see MSNBC down there in the corner, but what they're covering is a Fox News poll. Let's look at this.
Poll of registered voters finds that Trump's overall approval rating is now underwater. 44%. That's right. Only 44% approve the job he's doing, while 55% disapprove. The president is also underwater on the issues of immigration, foreign policy, the economy.
The most popular subject for Donald Trump is immigration, and he's a net negative. His best indicator, where he's doing the best with Americans, he's underwater. It's not good. This is not the best president in history.
Tariffs and inflation. Trump receives his best marks on border security. He has 55% approve. Based on Trump's first 100 days, voters are now also less optimistic about the future. 38% say they feel encouraged about the next 4 years, while 51% are discouraged. Those numbers were at 45% and 84% respectively at the 100-day mark of Trump's first term back.
Those good numbers, best president in history. I like that you guys think that like just the whole country's wrong. Like literally everything is cratering, and you're like, no, he's got a plan for this.
in 2017.
So a separate Reuters Ipsos poll found President Trump's overall approval rating at 42%. Just 37% approve of his handling of the economy. Oof. Trump's worst ever rating on that question. Meanwhile, 45% approve of his handling on immigration. Meanwhile, a new Pew Research Center survey finds Trump's approval rating at 40%, with 59% disapproving. That's Trump's lowest rating on that question since 2019 and down 14 points from November. He is also underwater on tariffs at 39%, DOGE cuts at 44%, and the economy at 45%. These numbers, you would think in the White House they're taking a look today.
Yeah, I would think so. And
this liberal media lie. The first one was Fox News. This is Pew Research. It's the liberal media lies. Guys, I mean, look, just for you, for those of you who are looking at this and you're just throwing up the blinders, what does it say about you? That every time anything about Trump is said negatively, you're just like, nobody could possibly think he's bad. It's fake news. Everything's bad. Like, what kind of life is that to live? Ask yourself honestly. You're probably political. If you're a Republican in here, it's likely that you're political. Everybody in here is likely political. So let's try and remove ourselves from this political space that we're in right now. Just imagine for a second that you voted, but you don't really follow politics. You don't even really know what Donald Trump does. Okay, you don't follow this day-to-day shit. What would you be feeling positive about right now? You certainly are not positive about your ability to save money. You're not feeling positive about affordability of anything. You can't be feeling positive about your retirement accounts. You can't be feeling positive about like the unity of the country. What are the positive things that the average American is going to be feeling right now? Because even if you guys look at the stuff that you love, like you love the deportations, you're not actually feeling that. None of that is actually effective. When you see somebody get deported and you get an erection, that's just your weird kink. But that's not a feeling that everybody else is getting. Everything you think about Donald Trump, everything that you're happy that he's doing is just a feeling that you have. But the reality is, when you break it down in terms of like the impact it has on people, every bit of impact he's having on people is negative right now. He's not having a positive impact on the average American. It is very, very negative. So, of course, his numbers are going to be dropping. And by the way, should the stock market turn around, should the price of housing come down, should wages go up, Americans will switch quickly. But right now, let's just be honest, the everyday American does not feel good about the direction of the country. And so there's kind of two options here. And I recognize that the Trump people here are going to say, you just got to wait and see. He has a plan. We trust it. I don't agree with you. Do whatever you want. You can. I think he's shown no evidence of a plan. But the average American right now doesn't feel good. And it's hard to win people back over. Your party's going to have a really difficult time winning people back over, especially given the total capitulation yesterday, where Trump says, I will never back down to China. Never! I'm backing down. Why are you backing down? Well, a bunch of corporations came to me and they were like, hey, you're fucking us over. And so I was just like, all right, since the billionaires said it. When it was all of us, when people, literally millions of people went out there and protested, he's like, fuck them. But Walmart shows up. He's like, oh, if Walmart's saying it. And I think that goes to show like what the guy said earlier. Oh, you're saying a billionaire is dumb? Yeah. Yeah, they're just self-serving. Walmart is self-serving. But it isn't a good indicator. Trump doesn't care about what hurts the average American, but once it starts hurting rich people, he's going to listen. Because the reality is, when Trump's in a room full of smart, rich people, he's the dumb guy. And so he has to agree with them because he can't counter their argument. So he just backs down, and that's what he did. He backed down to China. He backed down to these corporations, and he cost us billions of dollars for no reason. And those billions of dollars in costs, those aren't going away. Because the part I think nobody seems to understand yet is that he has ruined trade agreements. People are looking to trade with somebody besides us because they recognize that we have a population here who might elect another Trump. They don't view this as, oh, well, he backed down and now everything's back to normal. They're saying, can we do this without the United States? Can we work out other deals so we export to countries where it's more calm, where it's a more sensible trade policy. And if they can export all their goods somewhere else, why wouldn't they? Who the fuck would want to do business with the United States right now? If this was a company that you were doing business, you wouldn't want to do business with the United States. It's chaos. Every day it's just like, 80% tariffs today. Fuck. Tomorrow, never mind. You're like, oh, good, finally. A week later, 60% tariffs on you bitches. Fuck. A week later, they're gone. Nobody wants to deal with somebody like that. Trump is that crazy boyfriend or girlfriend that all your friends are like, you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that. No, but he comes back and then he eats my ass, and I'm thrilled about it. And so I just forgive him because he's so good at it. Gives me that old rusty trombone. I forget all about it.
He's at a remarkably low number here for so early in his term.
By remarkably low, he means historically low. And it's not just MSNBC that's covering this. It's not just them that's freaking out a little bit. Here's Fox News covering this same data, and listen to how they're talking about it.
For example, the president's numbers are upside down to where they were, and they've taken a drop, as you see there, 38% in approve on the economy, an issue that in the election, obviously, he's succeeded at.
Yeah, I think the American people.
Damn, Scott, I'm feeling positive about a giant meteor. Did I read that too? Trump is 21st century Hitler. Proved me wrong. From Premomtum. Crystal said they want the death of critical thinking.
People to what you were saying earlier, don't like volatility. They want to be able to walk into their Target, to their Walmart, and know that they can.
Sorry, real quick, I should have got these. Swish says we do block text. Fuck text. That's true. I did say that we don't block people. We did block text. Look, if you want to float some things that sound a little racist, but you yourself are not saying specifically racist things, you probably will probably walk through it. But if you just start saying racist things, you got to go.
Purchase a TV at a low cost, a low price.
Let me start this over.
Fox polls on the economy, for example, the president's numbers are upside down to where they were, and they've taken a drop, as you see there, 38% in approve on the economy, an issue that in the election, obviously, he's succeeded at.
Yeah, I think the American people, to what you were saying earlier, don't like volatility. They want to be able to walk into their Target, to their Walmart, and know that they can purchase a TV at a low cost, a low price. And, these tariffs are a tax on the American people. And I think while it is fair that, the Trump administration has said, the United States has not been treated fairly in some of these trade deals, there's a way to do it. There's a precision to it. And you're just seeing this, kind of cut and slash chainsaw approach, with Elon Musk. And at the end of the day, the American people are reacting to that, and the markets are reacting to that.
Roger?
Well, you're not going to hear from the American people they want strategic decoupling. That's not language that you're outside the beltway.
That's all we ever hear. Every time I stand in line at McDonald's, I just see everybody's always talking about strategic decoupling. We need to strategically decouple from China. That's a good point there. I don't think most people would know what that means.
But I think, actually, that's what they want. I mean, you could wrap your head around sort of tariffs of things that put American national security at risk. But the things you get from Walmart, those TVs and other items, well, perhaps we don't need to have the tariffs at that level. I think if President Trump was inking trade deals with other countries, it would have sort of an effect where it put pressure on China. But at the moment, he's not getting that. And as a result, it's kind of this dance, who's going to call who first. He hasn't spoken to Xi since he entered office. And he wants that call. And I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, and let's just say it's not easy putting these trade deals together. They're very complex. It's like three-dimensional chess. I mean, you move one thing and something else has to move.
No, actually, there were already trade deals in place. The reason it's complex is because he blew them all up, started over, because Trump just does, like, if Obama or Biden did something, he's just like, start over. It is complex, but the reason it's so complex is because he just like tried to rip all the agreements up and start from scratch, which was never going to work.
So it could take a while.
It could take a while, and in the meantime, there is uncertainty, and that has a cost in and of itself, right? Because I think there's merit to some of these ideas of, okay, we're going to go 0 for 0.
Tyler, I got news for you, brother. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. China is so much better positioned to do this. We're 2% of their GDP, dude. You're out of your fucking mind. Say it all you want. But by the way, you should send that message to Trump. You should say, because Trump just caved. China called his bluff. Japan called his bluff. We're over leveraged. We have a bunch of people that will tank our economy if we try and do a trade war because we borrowed so much, because we don't tax appropriately. We've handed leverage to all these other countries. We've allowed them to buy debt from us. And so we're completely over leveraged, and we're beholden to them. You don't understand economics. Everybody who does, every economics expert in this country, every economist in this country says Trump is fucking up. But don't worry, guys. Tyler said, we got this, boys.
And we're going to have fairer trade with various countries. But he put this on his own plate, and it does need to move quickly to give people the sense that there are deals coming together and that they are looking good for consumers, because they will start to feel these price problems in their stores.
Yeah. I mean, who's left on your side here? Why are you guys still hanging around saying this is really going to work? Here's another thing I thought was interesting. Fox News is finding their courage. And this is, look, most people that work in news, they've been through a lot, especially right here, we got Bret Baier and Brit Hume, both people who have seen a lot. They may have their own political ideologies, but they are not deathly loyal like you are. And when they see a madman, when they see a con man, when they see an authoritarian, at some point they have to call it out. And listen to what Brit Hume said. Again, Fox News. This is Fox News. This is Fox News. And listen to what Brit Hume says. Brit Hume, excuse me.
He was the president, not the White House press secretary, but saying that they're disappointed in Zelensky, but they're moving forward.
Well, he keeps pounding Zelensky and saying it's harder to deal with him than it is with Putin. Putin, so far as I can tell, hasn't agreed to much of anything, except, yes, he'd love to annex Crimea, which is part of the proposal that's before him now. That's no concession. That's just all that is taking a gain. Zelensky resists that because Crimea, up until the Russian invaded it 10 years or so ago, was part of Ukraine. So I'm not exactly sure what the president is talking about when he says that that Zelensky has been more difficult to deal with than Putin. There have been a series of ceasefire proposals. Putin either hasn't agreed to them or has immediately broken them. I'm not sure, what concessions Putin will ever be willing to make, but he certainly hadn't made very many so far.
Yeah, we will see. The president is meeting with a number.
We've got a new subscriber.
Muted.
Shit, sorry, thank you. I don't know if I agree. Who said that? Sorry. Someone said they don't know if they agree with me. That was a big Steph fan. I don't know if I agree with that, Jay. Russian propaganda channel loves Putin. Yeah, the new ones do. The old heads are like, uh-oh, we've been around Putin for a long time. It is weird. Finally, actually, Trump did tweet at Putin today. He finally, I can pull it up, actually. Let's see. Trump, he called him Vladimir, which I thought was cute. This is as hard as he's going to go on Putin. I am not happy with the Russian strikes on Kyiv. Not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop. 5,000 soldiers a week are dying. Let's get the peace deal done. All right. So for everybody who said that Vladimir Putin will listen to Trump and that Trump isn't his bitch, let's see if Vladimir Putin stops now. Let's see if we get a peace deal done now. Let's see. I'm going to guess he doesn't. I'm going to guess he doesn't give a fuck. He's saying, I get Crimea. I probably want the Donbass too. And if you don't give it to me, I'm just going to keep bombing Ukraine. This was supposed to be done on day one, by the way. This is supposed to be day one. You guys remember him? He told us day one that it was very simple. Because we were like, hey, look, this takes time. Like, how are you gonna negotiate with Putin? Putin doesn't seem to want to negotiate. And Trump's like, yeah, he does. He'll negotiate with me. Day one, I'll end it. Oof. We are way past day one, and it's escalating. It's getting worse. Everything he said he would end on day one is escalating and getting worse. How'd that happen? Why aren't you guys talking about that? At the very least, let's see if I can get a Trump supporter in here to admit this. Trump supporters that are in here, put your hand up if you agree that Trump said he would end these wars on day one, and he hasn't. I just want to see. Only if you voted for Trump. I need to see your hand in the chat. If you agree that Donald Trump on day one said he would end these wars, and you acknowledge that he has not ended these wars. I just want to see a hand. That's it. I'm not gonna criticize you. I just want to know if you're capable of telling the truth. Let's see. We'll see if any hands come up. All right. Look who else they lost. Look who else they're losing. This was wild. I didn't expect this. The Scarecrow's even pissed off.
There is a concern among many of us that small businesses will suffer first. They have operating capital for 2 or 4
Thanks,
weeks,
Evan.
not 2 or 4 years. And many of them rely on the larger retailers
Thanks,
to buy
Stephen.
their goods and then resell them or to make their own businesses work. So that's a concern. There are things that we simply cannot make in this country. We can't harvest cocoa. We can't make tequila. That's a blue agave plant in Jalisco, Mexico. Almost 100% of all the fireworks for all these great celebrations for President Trump's presidency and for America's upcoming birthday, those are made in China. So I think people are going in and they're stating, they're pleading their case. There is a
Oh no, my leader didn't keep one out of the millions of other promises he's kept. What promises he's kept? Let's ask the Republicans in the chat. What promises has Trump kept? What are the promises that he has kept? Somebody asked me, let's see if I'll be honest, who started the war? Putin. The person who starts the war is the person who invades. There's not another way. You can't say like Ukraine didn't do what Putin wanted, so Putin gets to invade. That's not starting a war. Whoever invades starts the war. Same thing. Like if you and I, if we're all out there, if we're on the street and we're talking shit to each other, and then I punch you in the face, I can't be like, oh, well, you said something about my mom. The police are like, yeah, you can say something about your mom. You can't punch him in the face because he said some shit about your mom. The person who throws the first punch starts the fight. The country that invades started the war. If you're saying that Ukraine started the war by not listening to Russia, then what you're saying is like everybody has to be Russia's bitch or else they're allowed to invade. And I get that like as Americans, we kind of think that way because that's what we do. We're just like, Saddam, do what we say. He's like, no. And then we're like, oh, dude, we're coming. Why are we going there? 9/11? I think it was 9/11. Maybe weapons. I don't remember. We're coming, though. Do what we say. Afghanistan, you're coming to. NATO. Did NATO invade Russia? See, this is what's crazy. We had some of you. You don't start a war until you invade. I don't know. Why did Russia need to invade Ukraine? Even anybody who's like, oh, well, NATO didn't keep their agreement. They tried to expand eastward. Does that mean Russia gets to invade Ukraine? Is that what you're saying? That if you break an agreement, then you can invade? Because Russia had already broken the multiple agreements, and we didn't invade them. So why didn't NATO invade Russia for all the times they broke agreements? I don't understand this Russian apologetics. I don't. None of you want to live in Russia. None of you want to be like Russia. It's apologetics because you guys wanted to blame this entire fucking war on Joe Biden. That's the truth. And your party spent 4 years convincing you this was Joe Biden and NATO's fault, and none of this would have happened if Trump was there. And that's why you're pro-Russia. That's how easy it is to like manipulate you. Russia invaded another fucking country. For the love of God, don't be that dumb. Please don't be that dumb. Was Russia provoked? Sure. Did Russia not get their way? Sure. But who started the war? Goddamn Russia. It wasn't self-defense. Johnny said market manipulation. Also rhombus. Johnny is really upping his shapes. Jennifer says, thanks for doing the work, team. Love you always. Thanks, Jennifer. I did miss some from Jen, too, actually. I forgot the Venmos over there. Pink said, ever heard of the band Latter-day Skanks? I have not. Please send it to me. Tim, excuse me. Thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Jamar says, golf plus baseball equals grilled cheese. Yay, math. Han says, can you compare the number of executive orders for Trump's first term, for Biden's term, and how many that Trump has done in his second term? It feels like Trump has done hundreds already this term. This isn't normal. I haven't looked at that for a while. Let's see. Executive orders, Biden and Trump. Let's see what we got here. This might be older. This is from USA Facts. Biden signed 160. It's an average of 40 per year. Trump did 220, an average of 55 per year. How many has Trump signed in this? How many executive orders? Do we have does this count them? I need a link. That's a lot. Jesus Christ, it's a lot. It's like 20 a day. He signed 130. Okay. As of April 22nd. Plus he just did like 40 more yesterday. So he's done 100. He's 30 short of Joe Biden. He's 30 short of Joe Biden in 2 months. Remember when Trump campaigned on Obama? He was like, he said that Obama was the executive order president, and that if you signed in fact, we'll just show it. Trump, I'll find it. Trump complained about Obama signing executive orders. Obama. I'm sure we can find that clip. There's always a clip. It's just because he's full of shit. Like, he never had any intention of following through with anything.
You saw what he did today. Executive orders. He wants to do. Wouldn't it be nice if they could actually get Congress together and, do it the old-fashioned way where people work and they this and they cajole and they have drinks together and they get along or they don't get along and they come up with some. Just wants to sign executive orders all the time. No good. It's no good. It's no good. It's no fair. And then.
Oh, no good and no fair. God damn, if he could see himself now. He's doing all the no good, no fair. Who sent this? M. Scott sent this. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, this is apparently this is real now. We're selling this on the Trump website now. Trump 2028. Fuck the Constitution. Whoever cared about the Constitution? Where was this other one? I think this is. I don't know if they're selling this on there. I think this is just a portrait. Let me see. I don't know if they're selling this on the website or not. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know. It's just a grainy portrait. I'm not sure if they're selling that or what that is. I don't know. You guys will probably have to check it out. Scott, I think I read that one. All right. This is crazy. We'll just jump into it because it's going to take a little while. So the reason I was late today is because of an announcement from the Trump team and what I thought was an obscure scam website that turned out to be actually legitimate. And then I found that CoffeeZilla had actually made a video for this. So we're going to watch CoffeeZilla's video breakdown of what happened yesterday. Just another scam by this president.
Essentially, they are legalized Ponzi schemes. I mean, that's what a meme coin is. There's no value to it. So you got to get in and get out before it crashes. And I think most of Doge and maybe a couple others, but the true meme coins that people are doing on Pump Fund, like it's the same general cycle every single time. As long as people know what they're getting into, but I don't have the secret sauce on what makes one go up. I know what makes mine go up. I tweet it. If I
Portnoy doesn't. I haven't hated Portnoy during this Trump administration. He tells it like he's like, yeah, meme coins are Ponzi schemes. They don't make any sense. The ones that I invest in, I pump them by sending a tweet. I just tweet it out and then it pumps. So it's totally a Ponzi scheme. It's what I do. It's what we do. We all do Ponzi schemes. It's just a popularity thing.
Tweet it, they go bananas. But it's an interesting, crazy market, meme coins.
It is an interesting and crazy market when you get to be one of the guys tweeting about your coin and your coin goes up. Here we had Dave Portnoy admitting that meme coins, and this is something that he's engaged in, especially recently with multiple coins, tweeting about them, doing stuff like that. He admits they're basically legalized Ponzi schemes. I think he's totally correct. Say what you want about Dave. I really like his honesty. I mean,
all right, so just a quick recap there. So Dave's just talking about Ponzi schemes and how meme coins are Ponzi schemes. This is CoffeeZilla. This is his other channel, Voidzilla, where he does like quicker, like 10 to 15-minute videos. If you don't subscribe to CoffeeZilla, and if you've ever just wanted to understand cryptocurrency and what a scam it is and how easy it is to scam people with cryptocurrency, I highly recommend CoffeeZilla. I think he's one of the best investigative journalists in the world. His work is thorough. It's meticulous. It's easy to understand. So I cannot shout out CoffeeZilla here enough. But as I was preparing the show today and as I was getting the information in order, I saw that he had posted this video. So I was like, oh, shit, I guess CoffeeZilla is going to teach us today. And I'll turn up the volume a little bit. Sorry about the low volume there.
the guy, he just tells you what he thinks. And I really appreciate that about him, because people have been doing this copium about, oh, dude, I'm just a collector, man. Meme coins, they're just collectibles. That's why they shouldn't be securities. This guy's like, hey, they're Ponzi schemes. Hey, I tweet about it, number go up. I really like the transparency, because, we get so much of the cope from the industry of, well, it's a social attention token. This guy's like, Ponzi scheme. And that's not coming from like a skeptic. That's not coming from CoffeeZilla, right? That's what I would call it. But at least we have somebody in the industry more, being honest about what this game everyone is playing is. Now, of course, where Dave and I differ is Dave thinks, well, as long as you know what you're getting yourself into, he thinks it's fine. I think most of the people who like meme coins for that reason are usually the people who can move the needle. You'll notice when they talk about like, oh, I don't know the secret sauce, but when I tweet about it, number go up. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the problem. This is a weird thing that like scammers do, and especially cryptocurrency bros. They all do this. They say like, oh, well, you got to know you could lose your money. But not everybody knows. And if you know that you're operating a scam and you tweet it out knowing that millions of the people that see your tweet think it's a good investment, and you know that you're only tweeting it to pump your coin so that you can sell it, you're a scammer. It's such a weird thing that the crypto bros do. They're like, yeah, it's totally a scam. It's totally a crime. But, oh, well, dude, you should just be allowed to do scams and do crimes. If you're too stupid to know you're getting scammed, then you should get scammed. Most people don't understand cryptocurrency. Most people who invest in cryptocurrency don't understand cryptocurrency. So you're saying that we should just have like this easy scam that's out there that you can just do anytime? And by the way, not only can you do it if you're just a regular scam artist, fuck it, if you're the president, scam people. Just go for it.
Of course, if you are at the top of a Ponzi scheme, you're gonna think it's fine. But disproportionately in Ponzi schemes, there are always more people at the bottom getting screwed by the Ponzi scheme, which is why we made them illegal, because it is preying on our people. Like, it is not a value-adding activity. It is just purely rent-seeking, grifting, and that's all this stuff is. I mean, as admitted by people in the space. So maybe Dave and I have a difference of opinion about whether this stuff should be illegal, but I appreciate that he at least is one of the people being transparent about what it actually is. What everyone keeps denying, with the official statement by the SEC being that meme coins are actually collectibles. You certainly don't see the SEC calling them legalized Ponzi schemes. I want to draw your attention to this, though. They say meme coins also typically have limited to no use or functionality, and are accompanied by statements regarding their risks and lack of utility other than for entertainment. But I do want to call attention to this, because the main meme coin that really cascaded all these changes, everyone acknowledges, was basically Trump coin, right? Like, that obviously was the reason the rules changed, because the president launched...
just if you're new to this, the president launched a meme coin on the eve of the inauguration, and then the next, or 2 days before, and then the next day they launched Melania coin. These coins are nothing. They have no utility. There is it pumped and then it dumped. Trump made billions of dollars. He made millions of dollars in fees and billions of dollars in wealth. And then they did it with Melania. They did the same thing. They gave out early access. They gave insiders, people who had donated to Trump, they let them know that they could buy this coin early. Then they pumped it. All those people sold. All those people made millions of dollars, and millions of Americans were left, and people across the world were left holding the bag. Now, some people made money. Some people got scammed, but Trump made hundreds of millions of dollars in fees. So he did a Ponzi scheme to make hundreds of millions of dollars in fees. And we can't get you guys to fucking care. That's crazy. And by the way, you can't track it. So it's not even like you don't even have this ability to do your typical due diligence when it comes to a president fundraising. Who's to say who gave him that money? Was it Russia? Maybe. Was it Israel? Maybe. Was it the Saudis? Maybe. Was it the white nationalists? Maybe. Was it people who wanted gifts from him? Maybe. And the defense from the Trump people at that time was, well, how's he supposed to know? He'll never know. It's not like they're getting any benefit from this. I don't think you knew what benefit they were getting. I don't think that Trump had spelled out what benefit they're getting. But I've explained this before. If there's a 3% fee and I give Trump $100 million, I buy $100 million of Trump coins. Trump makes $3 million just off my purchase. And then when I sell it, Trump makes the $3 million again. So Trump, by you can donate $6 million that goes directly into Trump's pockets, that doesn't go into his super PAC, doesn't go into his campaign. It goes directly into his pockets. And all you had to do was buy this coin. And because of the blockchain, they don't really track it. And Trump said, now Trump, as he's in office, he's like, by the way, the SEC is not going to investigate any of this. So anybody, including myself, everybody's free to scam. Not everybody can. I can't scam. I don't have enough of an audience to scam you guys. I don't have enough of an influence to scam you guys. So the only people that can do this are people who millions of Americans have put their trust in. Some of you have sold your soul. Some of you can't come without looking at Donald Trump. And he's using that influence to scam people and to allow foreign entities to give him money. Just give him cash all day long. This dude has made hundreds of millions of dollars off of a scam as president. None of you fucking care. None of you fucking care. There's no utility. And now it's getting worse. Now that he got away with it, they ran that little test run. You guys are like, no, that's okay. That's okay. We just love him. It's okay if he's just a scam artist. It's okay if he's not making prices go down. It's okay. We love tariffs. He can just have hundreds of millions of dollars. It's fine. Everything's fine. Now he does this today.
These changes, everyone acknowledges, was basically Trump coin, right? Like that obviously was the reason the rules changed, because the president launched his own coin that you can trade. With many, like myself, saying, well, the terms of service say this is not a political coin. There's no utility. There's no use to this. But I was like, well, if it's the president's coin, that seems like a pretty big deal. And not
just, I don't know. Coffee doesn't really go into this because it's shorter. Let me just show you the website. So this is the actual website that he's talking about here. It's gettrumpmemes.com. And I started reading this and I was like, okay, is this Trump? Like, it is cheesy as fuck. Like, it's AI images. Have dinner with President Trump, the most exclusive invitation in the world, only for the top 220 Trump meme coin holders. So only 220. You just got to buy as many of these as you can, and then you get to have lunch with him. Again, he's making 3%. Donald Trump is getting people to pay him to sit down, and that money's going into his pocket. It's not going into his charity. It's not going into a foundation. This isn't a fundraiser dinner where he can pay his political expenses. It's him. And I didn't believe it at first. I'm looking through this. I'm like, there's no fucking way that gettrumpmemes.com is his. This has got to be just somebody else that's fundraising, and they've probably paid Trump or said, yeah, can you come have dinner with these people? Maybe it's an event and he's just doing a favor. Because there's no chance that an administration and somebody as great at business as Trump would be putting up a website like this that is obviously so fucking scammy that you don't even use real pictures of him. Right? You have pictures of I don't know if that looks AI generated too. Like, from my understanding, I don't think you could just like, is that a Mercedes? That should have been a Tesla there. You and Trump. This is like the most shittily copy or cut what do you call that? Photoshopped picture I've ever seen. This is all, like, everything about this website screams scam. And I'm just looking at this. I'm like, this is all bullshit. This is an example of the leaderboard and not an actual one. There's all this legal jargon here that made me believe this is somebody else. Trump memes are intended to function as an expression of support for and or engagement with the ideals and beliefs embodied by the symbol Trump, not him, just the symbol, and the associated artwork, and not intended to be or to be subject of an investment opportunity. This is not an investment opportunity, investment contract, or security of any type. Get Trump memes is not political and has nothing to do with any political campaign or any political office or governmental agency. So I'm like, okay, so this can't be Trump, because they're clearly in here saying it doesn't have anything to do with Trump. But what I didn't realize is what they're doing here is saying it doesn't have anything to do with the government. It has everything to do with Trump. So 220 special Trump meme coin holders will be invited to an unforgettable gala dinner with the president on May 22nd, 2025. Black tie optional. I don't know where it's going to be. A members-only club in Washington, D.C. So not in, I don't know what club that is. He doesn't own a club there. So does anybody know, maybe Hole, if you're here, message Jen if you know what club this is. Maybe we'll go. All right. So scroll down. As an exclusive bonus, the top 25, you're invited to an exclusive reception before with your favorite president. Plus, we have separately by us arranged for a special VIP tour for you. So make sure you stay in town. The tour is being arranged by Fight LLC. President Trump is appearing at the dinner as a guest and not soliciting any funds for this. Okay. So then I was like, all right. I don't know who Fight LLC is. Trump's going to appear. He's just a guest. So he's distanced himself from this project. So you guys can feel good about that. Anyways, then I go all the way to the bottom, and I want to see like who's in charge of this. Trump memes are intended to function as expression of support, yada, yada, yada. Trump is a registered trademark of DTM Operations LLC. This product is not distributed or sold by Donald J. Trump, the Trump Organization, or any of their respective affiliates or principals. Celebration Cards LLC uses the Trump name and the name, image, and likeness of Donald J. Trump pursuant to the terms and limited license agreement, which may be terminated or revoked according to its terms. Now, this is silly, because DTTM Operations is owned by Donald Trump. The meme coin is a licensing agreement, but the funds go to DTTM, which is Donald Trump. All of the proceeds are going to Donald Trump, the person, not Donald Trump, the president. What the fuck are we doing here? This dude's just literally out there like taking time off from the presidency to do a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme to get so people can get influence over him. This isn't normal. It's never happened. You can point at the Clintons. You can point at Obama. You can point at all the people who have accumulated wealth. Nobody has done it like this. Bernie Madoff went to jail for this. People go to jail all the time for this. And Trump is making it legal and then doing it. He just made crime legal, and now he's doing crime from the Oval Office. And no, you guys don't care.
Not like it has no utility, but today we actually got an update on that because the website was updated today with a new perk. Have dinner with President Trump. The most exclusive invitation in the world, only for
Trump denied a salary. Fact. Cool. He didn't take the $400,000 a year salary, so it's okay that he runs a Ponzi scheme and makes hundreds of millions of dollars. It absolves him of that. You would listen to yourselves sometimes. You wouldn't do this for anybody else. If this was just any celebrity, you'd be like, that's scum. In fact, every celebrity who's got caught doing a pump and dump, they like lose their career. Trump's the only person ever who does a pump and dump scheme and gets more popular. Thanks for stealing our money, Daddy.
The top 220 Trump meme coin holders.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Gelato Buzz. Shut the fuck up with this both sidesism. It is not the same. Both sides suck. One does it in open and one does it behind closed doors. Shut the fuck up. 0 people in the history of our country ever have scammed, who have run a scam and made hundreds of millions of dollars while they were in office. This has only happened one time. It's never even been close to this. Shut the fuck up forever about both sidesism. You are not a hero for being a fence sitter right now. This is not both sides. This has only happened one fucking time ever. Nobody's ever been close to this. You literally have to take the whole of the DNC, everybody who's ever worked in office in the history of the DNC, and if you put all of their scams together, it still wouldn't come close to the amount of money that Trump has raised doing an illegal pump and dump scheme, an illegal Ponzi scheme that his SEC said, we're just not going to investigate these things. They are illegal. Their own words that CoffeeZilla wrote at the beginning says this is illegal, but they have an executive order that says we're not going to investigate these things. Don't be a fucking coward and both sides this shit. This isn't fucking both sides. Both sides is insider trading. Both sides is abusing financial contributions and using those financial contributions to fly first class or to have really expensive wardrobe or to fly your brother or to hire your brother or your friend. That shit happens all the time. This isn't both sidesism. Shut the fuck up about that. That's crazy. This is why we can't ever fix anything. Because every time something crazy happens, everybody lines up to be like, oh, well, really, everybody's doing it. And since everybody's doing it, we should just do nothing. And we should continue to bend over and get fraud rammed up our assholes every single day. That's what we really ought to do. We need to just keep being cucks. I won't take a principled stand on anything because one time somebody else did something bad. This has never happened. Yeah, I don't, even the fence sitters, even like the average American is just like, well, I don't really want to learn something new. And I know this sounds bad, but I just can't bring myself to believe that Donald Trump is somehow worse than everybody else. I can't possibly believe it. So I'm just going to bury my head in the ground and say both sides.
If you hold enough of his coin, by the way, the unlock is coming up. They did just push it back a little bit for, I think 3 months or something like that. But the unlock is coming up. And so now, if you're a holder of this coin, you get to attend the dinner. In fact, I think there's even a perk for the top 25 holders as well. For those people, you'll get an exclusive reception before dinner.
So let's ask it, if the government is so bad, why is Trump wrong for reducing it? What the fuck are you watching right now? What the fuck are you watching right now? Is anybody saying that the government is bad? Nobody's saying that. And he's not reducing it, by the way. He's reducing programs he doesn't like, and he's expanding programs that he likes. Donald Trump has expanded the size of the federal government. Whether you like it or not, he's expanding. But what the fuck are you watching? You guys are so uncomfortable sitting through something that looks bad for Donald Trump that you'll do anything to not sit here and let it happen to you anymore. Oh, what about something else? We gotta do you're saying the government's bad? No, dude, I'm saying he's running a fucking Ponzi scheme. That's what I'm saying. You're adults, right? I hope you guys are adults. Just sit here and listen. Shut the fuck up for 2 seconds. Stop trying to whataboutism your way through this and watch. He is running a Ponzi scheme. He is stealing from his very voters. He's telling them this is a great investment opportunity. Go out there and buy. And you know that there's MAGA out there that's like, oh, I'm going to be one of those 220. Fucking David just sold every car he had and his wife so that he can go buy Trump stock and hopefully he can be in the top 220. Stop making excuses for this guy. It's embarrassing.
If you're in the top 25 holders, you will meet the president, especially, and you have a specialized White House VIP tour, which is just crazy. I mean, how is this not a perk? Like, the SEC's guidelines are very clear. Like, oh, yeah, guys, all because of, the meme coins. We're legalizing meme coins. That's fine. It's not a security. Why is it not a security? Well, there's no functionality. And then a couple months later, hey, you could have dinner with the president for holding this coin. That's like huge utility. I mean, call me crazy. Maybe nobody else thinks so. But I think that's a pretty big deal. And it appears other people feel the same because when the news hit, the price skyrocketed like 50%. So all of a sudden, the coin's way up because now there's some utility to this coin where you can meet the president. That's so insane. What's funny, though, is people actually took advantage.
So we see what happened there. So all Trump had to do, all anybody has to do is tweet about it, and the price goes up. Nothing got better. It's still a scam. But that tells you that the people in the know need to just say it so the people who aren't in the know fund the rise. And meanwhile, again, Trump's making 3% off of all this. Every time this stock pumps, Trump makes tens of millions of dollars.
Of this announcement as well, doing a special little front run, because some of the news got leaked on Twitter a little bit early. It looks like someone found the website before it was officially tweeted out. So somebody, before the tweet went live, they went ahead and spent $5 million front running the coin, and then sold the Trump coin immediately after the announcement for about $700,000 of profit within about roughly 30 minutes. So, that's great that could happen too. More utility for those of you who've been wondering what is the utility of this coin? I see all the people who are mocking our president saying this is ridiculous, selling something with no functionality. Actually, guys, huge functionality. I don't know what that means for the SEC. I think they got to change the rules again. I mean, I don't think these rules...
So there is a function. Bribery. That's the function of this coin. This is absurd. I'm telling you, this guy that's doing this video is not political in any way. He has been dragged into politics because Trump is such a scammer. He doesn't want to do politics. He hates doing politics. He's never done politics. He's only ever done crypto scams. So he's been dragged into politics by this administration because they are so corrupt. It is easily the most corrupt group of people ever to enter office, ever. It's not even fucking close. And the only reason you still support, well, he is supporting immigrants, so he should scam people.
Can stand with what the president's doing. I think we gotta make sure we bend over backwards to make sure that he's not breaking the SEC guidelines. Gotta make sure that's not happening. But I would say this announcement from February 27, 2025 is definitely out of date. You've got to say meme coins typically have limited or no use or functionality except for when the president does it, right? Because when the president does it, it's completely different. So I did think it was funny, the contrasting of the two little announcements today, the two drops. You have Dave Portnoy. He says they're legalized Ponzi schemes. And on the other side, you've got a meme coin where if you hold enough of it, you can go to the White House and meet the president. So, wow. I'm sure there's no special favors or anything that are going to be exchanged there. That won't happen, guys. Of course not. There's no functionality like that in the coin. That would never happen. You have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe something crazy like that could happen. Instead, all you're promised is at this intimate private dinner, hear firsthand President Trump talk about the future of crypto.
Which he doesn't know anything about, by the way. Donald Trump doesn't even know anything. He honestly, for a long time, he's like, we're going to have crypto coins and we're going to send you these crypto coins. He thought they were real. He thought they were like those replica coins that he makes and he sells to his people. By the way, was there, I don't remember like Obama hats and Obama coins and Obama gold cards. And I don't remember Biden selling merch. Like it's honestly fucking crazy to watch the people in here that just close their eyes. Like you close your eyes. Someone else is punching me in the face. Not the person who's actually punching me in the face. It's someone else. Yeah, it's really the Democrats that are scam artists. The reason you just only think the Democrats aren't scam artists because the Republicans are the only ones that ever get caught. Or maybe, just maybe, the reason they can keep getting caught and then nothing happens is because of you. Because you guys don't ever hold them accountable. It doesn't bother you when people are criminals. As long as they hate the same people that you hate, you're good with it. Just be honest about it. I don't know why you guys lie about that. Just don't get to talk about frauds and scams and people like making money off their office. Just be honest. You do not care about this. You just want the president to hate the same people that you hate, which is me, which is immigrants, which is anybody that generally that isn't white. You can throw Jewish people in there too. You can throw China in there. You can throw any country in there, but not Russia. We're not going to say bad things about Russia. Remember, they didn't start this war. Just be honest. You just like the bigotry. That's why every time he does something that everybody agrees is a crime, nobody disagrees that this is a crime. Everybody knows what he's doing here. You just don't care. It would be a lot easier if you guys would be honest about it. But the reason that you can't be honest about it is because you know you have to lie to people. And you know Trump has to lie to people in order for them to vote. In order for Trump to keep getting support, he can't be honest about what he's doing. He can't be honest about what he's about. That's why Trump won the election, and 2 months later, his polling numbers are in the shitter because people believed him, but then they saw what he did, and they're like, oh, he's not doing it. Now, you guys, you're holding on for dear life. You'll hold on forever. You'll probably die with a MAGA hat on, and your kids will be like, God damn, I'm so glad we don't have to hear about Donald Trump anymore. But there's a lot of people who just vote normally who are just like, oh, he's a businessman, he's a billionaire, he'll do good things. And 2 months in, they're like, fuck this guy.
Now, I don't know. I don't know.
Joe's back. This poor pussy. Can you imagine being triggered so bad that you make a fool of yourself daily? Yeah, Joe, that's me. Put your shirt on, though. Joe's still not coming up to debate shit, but put your shirt on, Joe. You're emaciated.
They write it this way on purpose, but like they're teasing. Like imagine you're an industry leader in crypto and you get told if you hold enough of this coin, you're going to hear the president leading regulations, hear him talk about the future of crypto firsthand in a way that almost nobody else gets the chance to hear. I mean, it is so wild. Maybe he's just grifting on the crypto people, just going to rob them, or they're going to hear a bunch of new stuff that lets them rob us. I don't know. I transparently have no idea what's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to be all above board, but wow. I mean, I don't even know what to say every time I see these updates. I'm just stunned. And you wonder,
Philip, so better to know who the president is than to have a literal puppet in office and no one knows who's actually running the country. Let's just say I agree with you. Let's just pretend that I agree with you that that Trump isn't a puppet, because I think Trump is. But no, it's not. I would rather have a puppet in office who isn't running scams, fucking up all of our trade deals, and siding with our enemies. I would rather have a puppet who does the right thing than Donald Trump doing the wrong thing. So even if I agreed with that statement that Donald Trump's not a puppet, I still would much rather have a puppet who does the right thing.
you know, when you're thinking about this coin now as an investor, let's say you're trying to think about this coin, how do you price it? You've got to speculate like, well, maybe Trump's going to give another dinner, right? And so when people are thinking of selling this coin, because this coin has basically been down only, but now people are going to have to price in the fact that randomly it may get these new perks, this new utility for being, you know, the president's coin, as we've said this entire time. Like,
this is what our economy is. This is why we're losing to China. This is why we're on the verge of financial collapse for a lot of companies, is because we speculate. Most of the value in our, especially tech companies, is just speculation. The value now in Trump's coin is speculation. You speculate that maybe if you hold on to that coin, you will be rewarded in the future. Same reason like Elon Musk quarterly earnings for Tesla just came in yesterday. They're down 71%. What happened to the stock price? Up. How? It's almost like in order to make that stock price go up on bad earnings, it's almost like people with a lot of money would have to purchase the stock at that time to make it go up. It's all entirely fraudulent. And that's what you guys have gotten used to. That's what we've gotten used to as a country. We've gotten used to an economy that doesn't make sense. And instead of saying like, oh, it doesn't make sense, we should fix it, we have so many people in America, they're like, oh, you know, it's complicated. It's complicated on purpose. It's complicated because it's a fucking scam. That's why it's complicated. Tesla should be worth about $6 per share. It's worth $200. Just if you look at the finances of Tesla and you compare the finances of Tesla to the finances of Ford and GM, it should be less expensive than their stock, and it's 4x to 10x depending on which car company you're looking at. Why? Because, spoiler alert, you know who else is a scam artist? Elon Musk. You know who else is a fake guru and a fake genius? Elon Musk. He's just a good salesperson, just like Donald Trump. So Trump has sold you on all this shit. I'm brilliant. I'm a billionaire. Look over here, and you just look over there. If Donald Trump was so if he was so fucking rich, and he didn't need our money, he's just running this. He just is running for president because he wants to save America. Well, then you're gonna have to explain how he entered office $1.8 billion in debt. None of that debt owned to anybody in this country. Debt owned entirely by foreign entities. And now recent valuations have him worth something between $50 and $100 billion. How'd that happen? How does this guy suck at business his whole life? Runs through his dad's money, bankrupts every business he ever starts, gets saved by a reality TV show after he's literally about to lose everything, gets saved by a reality TV show, which wasn't his idea, which he didn't write, which he didn't direct, which he didn't come up with. They just said, we have this idea for a reality TV show, and we need a fucking blowhard. We need somebody who doesn't give a single solitary fuck, who is comfortable being on TV. And that was Trump, and that saved him. And then he even blew through all that money because the Apprentice was tanking. Then nobody was watching it anymore. They did the Celebrity Apprentice, and it was tanking. So then he's got $2 billion in debt that he can't pay off because his properties aren't worth shit. Gets the presidency, makes a fortune off the presidency, and you guys are still like, oh, he donated his salary, which we don't even know if he donated his salary. We know that he did sometimes, but there are quarters where we don't know what happened to it. He never said he donated. He would say, like, I donated, and then those funds never showed up. So we don't even know if he actually donated his salary, but that's like saying that you stole $100 million from a bank, but then you gave $1,000 to a peddler on the street. Would I really steal? I gave $1,000 to a peddler. Yes, you could. Yeah, you stole. One thing doesn't make the other thing not true. This is just your attempt to whitewash this, to sane wash this, because it's fucking insane. And again, that's what CoffeeZilla is doing here. That's why he's so he's so shocked. He's like, I can't believe that. Like, if none of his other investigative journalism, none of the other scams he's uncovered are this transparently dumb. These videos that he makes usually take him months of work. It took him like 10 minutes. Took me about an hour because he's better at it than me. Took me about an hour to figure like, oh my God, this is just Trump making money off of the presidency. It's that dumb. And the only reason it's allowed to be that dumb is because you guys are that dumb or willfully ignorant or you just don't care. Either number of those things. But that's why he's so exasperated here. He's like, what the fuck?
Just bonkers, man. It is insane. And by the way, if you're wondering what it's going to take to get the top spots, in this for the private reception, these are the top holders of the Trump coin. Currently, the number one holder has 400,000 Trump, which is worth about $5.57 million for the top spot right now at the dinner. $5.57 million. With one person on Twitter saying they analyzed some of these wallets that are holding the top 25 spots, and a lot of them are actually recent purchasers, like they're like new wallets. Now, I haven't personally fact-checked that.
So it's not even for you. It's not even like this is just the richest of the rich. Do you want to sit down with Donald Trump in a private meeting about cryptocurrency that is not going to be held in a government building and will not be recorded and nobody can hear what you have to say and nobody can hear what Trump has to say? All you have to do is spend millions of dollars buying this coin and you can be there too. Will it be the regular? Will it be any of you guys in this chat? Absolutely fucking not. It'll be rich people who want to get Trump's ear and they want to make sure that they have a carve out so they can continue to commit financial crimes.
Myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if people who would have never before purchased Trump coin would suddenly do so because they get like actual things now for paying the money, right? If you're
Donovan, I think you mean Atlantic City. I don't think Trump ever had a casino in Vegas. He had them in Atlantic City. He couldn't get a casino license in Vegas. The other casino owners went to the state and said, like, don't give this guy a license.
crypto industry leader, it might actually make financial sense for you to do a business write-off. I don't know if you could call it a business write-off, but for you to basically buy this Trump coin to be able to attend a dinner with the guy who is making the future of your industry. I mean, that's not even like crazy thinking. That is a common sense kind of decision. But yeah, I just wanted to cover this news.
Hey, Joe, bye. Joe, sorry. Jen just told me to tell you that nobody can see your comments anymore.
I mean, I just saw it. I was like, wait, I think the SEC's out of date. Think we got to update this one, fellas. Back to the drawing board. So, yeah, that's basically it. Maybe they can include some language about legalizing Ponzi schemes next time. I'm pretty sure that's the mandate of the SEC, making sure you legalize those Ponzi schemes. All right, that's basically it. I'll see you next time.
All right. Look, this isn't surprising. We've talked about that before. We talked about this being a Ponzi scheme. I don't expect the Republicans to ever care about any of this shit, but history will remember Donald Trump as a con man, a grifter, a thief, a criminal, and he'll die and he'll never go to jail. And a bunch of people that are doing this with him will wind up going to jail or wind up paying massive fines. They'll lose their businesses. They'll lose their law licenses. They'll lose their family. They'll lose their credibility, all in the name of a person who does not give a fuck about them and who is doing nothing for this country. And if you think Donald Trump is doing great things for this country, I implore you, please come on up here and just tell me about it. I'm happy to be nice to you. We'll have a civilized conversation. I talk shit, just like you guys talk shit in the comments. But if you come up here, we'll have a good conversation. JenDub1 is the username to add on Discord if you'd like to come up and be part of the show. It's also Jen's Venmo, and then you can see our Cash App and our PayPal. We are way behind on the goal, and that's all right. I talked my ass off through that. But we do rely on your generosity to pay our bills. Full disclosure, I have a pretty expensive weekend ahead of me. I have a really cool opportunity to do something, to be part of a project, but that project has very limited funding, and so I'm part of the project, but I have to fund my own travel, food, hotel stay, all that stuff. So if we can knock that out, that would be great. I think the content will be worth it. That's why we're doing it. Sometimes as a small business, you have to take a chance. And we're taking a chance on this weekend, and I look forward to being able to tell you guys more about it later on. Unfortunately, I have signed agreements where I am not allowed to say any more than what I am saying now. So that being said, we also have YouTube super chats, and I'll read anything that you write. And I do need to get out of here right at 1. I actually have to jump on a call for that project at like 1:10, so I do have to get out of here right about then. So we'll keep going with the show here. I think I covered that. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show too. Just one recap here. And CoffeeZilla showed this, but this was Trump's coin. And this is what happened once they announced it. 65% increase in the value of the coin. The value of the coin, it only increases as more people buy it, right? So this is clearly a pump and dump. It's clearly there's no value in this coin. They just run that up, and Trump's picking up his 3% fee all down the line. I don't know. It's so hard to cover this with you guys, like knowing that it does not matter. No one is ever going to care. We decided long ago that Donald Trump is a criminal, and that none of you will ever admit it. And it's a wild thing. I don't really know how we're going to overcome that in the future with you guys. Because every accusation against our side, you treat it as a guilty verdict. And every guilty verdict on your side, you treat as an unfounded accusation. Every time any court rules against Donald Trump, it's a biased court. Anytime anything happens to your party that's wrong, it's just bias. And I don't think honestly that you can say that about us. Because there's been people that have went down on the left in recent years, the Cuomos. Who are the Cuomos hanging out with now? All the Republicans. Eric Adams, what's he doing? He got to deal with Trump. Gold Bar Bob begging for a pardon from Trump, talking about how it was a setup, how it was a witch hunt. Every time somebody goes down on our side, we just let them go down. We don't run cover for them. In fact, every time somebody goes down on our side, you guys run cover for them because they run to Trump. They recognize there's power in that. Like, oh my God, he has millions of people who will support him no matter what. Like, he can just do crimes and the people don't fucking care. So every time we lose somebody on the left, like RFK, when did RFK all of a sudden make that swing? He was a lefty. We didn't really like him that much. And then it turned out there was a bunch of sexual assault complaints against him. And suddenly the right embraced him. Russell Brand, same story. Elon Musk, same story. Every time one of these people has something bad happen, every time they turn out to be a scumbag, they just run to you guys because you'll overlook it. You, like I said, you don't care if somebody's a criminal, if they're a dirtbag. You just care that they dislike the same people you dislike. That's all it takes. Somebody can go from the left to the right. They can go beat on their wife, and then or sexually assault somebody. And then if they show up and they say they hate immigrants, you guys are like, yeah, us too. Welcome to the team. It's what you just did with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's been at the White House. Conor McGregor wasn't even political. You didn't talk about Conor McGregor politically. Then he was held civilly liable for sexually assaulting a woman. And then you guys are like, hi, welcome to the party. This is a great place for you. Here's Matt Gaetz. Here's Donald Trump. We love that over here. Here's Elon Musk. You guys, it's ironic. Like, they just use your beliefs against you. Your bigotry and your Christianity, they just use that against you. They put a cross around their neck. And you guys are like, oh, they're changed now. They love Jesus. Thanks, Marianne, for the super chat. Asa Sophia said, for you only, friend. Thank you very much, Asa Sophia. Wasn't me said, still listen every day. Love you and Jen. Thank you very much. Nomadic Introvert said, for your project, I enjoy your show. Thank you. That was very generous. Rebecca says, thank you for all you do. Thank you, Rebecca. Very generous. And did I read this one? Thanks for doing the work, team, always. Yeah, I think I read that one. And then let me see if Jen sent any. All right, we're good. All right, on to the next. Let me just tell you one thing about Stephen Miller. His pep talks suck. If I was MAGA, I honestly, like, just, this is petty, and we won't tell you guys. There's no way you're happy this is your spokesperson. This guy's a lunatic. He's not. He shrieks. You think I yell and scream? At least, like, there's something to it. It's not just sheer anger. This skinny little human thumb. I would not be happy if this was our spokesperson on the left. But here is Stephen Miller giving you guys a pep talk. Remember, guys, even though everything sucks, just remember it's for Trump, and Trump will fix it eventually.
You mentioned the threat of international terrorism that is on our shores, the millions of gotaways who entered under the previous administration, on top of the millions more unvetted that were caught and released into the country, and the millions more that were allowed to either fly into the country or overstay their visas. It is a clear and present danger to the national security of this country, and we have federal judges telling President Trump that he can't deport these threats from our communities. This is the choice facing every American. Either we all side and get behind President Trump to remove these terrorists from our communities, or we let a rogue, radical left judiciary shut down the machinery of our national security apparatus. President Trump is going to see this through to his conclusion, and we will find and remove every terrorist from this country, and President Trump will make this nation safer than ever before, and he'll do it over the fighting and opposition of the Democrat Party, over the fighting and opposition of the communist left-wing judges, over the fighting and opposition of the far-left federal bureaucracy. He will not be deterred, Sean. He will see this through, I promise you.
Well, then, Delbert, come on up and debate me. I've given you instructions on how you can debate. It's amazing how many of you say, I could kill you in a debate, and then none of you ever show up to debate. I want to remind you of this. Stephen Miller and this Republican Party and these dumb dicks in the chat are telling you every day how we have we've declared war. Just so we're clear. The only other times that we've invoked the act that Trump has invoked were the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. So obviously violent crime must be out of control in this country. Obviously. Except for it's fucking not. This is violent crime since 1990. Where is this uptick in violent crime? We are at historic lows for violent crime in this country. This is how easy it is to manipulate you. There's violence being perpetrated all across. These immigrants are causing violent crime everywhere. Where? Where the fuck? There's 350 million people in this country. I could start a narrative every day. In fact, we could. Watch this. You want to see an epidemic that's much easier to track than this one? Let's just go to Twitter here. Actually, we can go either. Let's go to Twitter. Because then you guys will get mad if I use Google. Let's see. Child word arrest. Child material arrests. I don't know if I can say the word. Let's talk about an epidemic then. If we're going to talk about epidemics, what do we notice here? What do we notice with the search results here? You guys notice anything? Notice anything about the gender and the race of almost every one of these people? A lot of churches mentioned here. You guys give a fuck about people being abused? Shut down the fucking churches. Or finally. Oh, possible. Possession. Oh. These don't seem to be immigrants from Venezuela, do they? This doesn't seem to be a bunch of immigrants from Venezuela and El Salvador. We have no evidence of increases in violent crime. You have stories, and stories are easily manipulated. You tell the story of Lake and Riley. That's why they always mention names. That's why Republicans give you names, because they give you a name and they give you a picture and they say, this is all immigrants. How is it that we have a massive spike in immigration and violent crime goes down? How's that happen? Just mathematically explain to me why we have invoked the aliens. What?
Jay.
What?
Jay.
What?
Half of it's cut off on the screen.
Oh, okay.
It was cut off.
There we go. Thank you. I didn't even notice that. Appreciate you. Was it cut off the whole time? Sorry about that. If you were on Twitch, you were seeing it the whole time. All right, there we go. Sorry, I didn't even notice that. Where's this big problem? Where's this big violent crime spike, folks? Where is it? They're just lying to you so you hate immigrants. This is an entirely manufactured crisis. It's just so they can be cruel to immigrants. And you guys fall for it every fucking time. We have real problems. We have real institutional problems in this country, specifically churches. You want your children to be safe? Don't take them to church. You want your children to be safe? Don't teach them about it. Teach them about consent. Teach them about gender. Teach them about sexuality. Teach them about sex. We know that there are things that you can teach children that keep them safe from being abused. And I know that you're uncomfortable because you were brought up with Christian shame. And so you think saying these things to children is bad because your parents taught you that saying things, teaching children about sexuality is bad. But every study in the world tells us, you know what also happened since 1992? People learned more. This drop in crime has a lot to do with education. You want to stop crime? Educate. But at the very time they're telling you that there's a big crisis of violent crime, which is at historic lows, and that violent crime has been perpetuated by this mass influx of immigration. Well, where the fuck did that happen? Because let's look at the immigration. Let's look at immigration by year. These charts. If this is a problem where immigration is causing massive crime spikes, then when the immigration goes up, the crime should also go up, right? Let's see if what's that? Just see if I can find an image of it instead. Oops. What's going on? My Immigration policy website not working. What are they doing? They don't want me to show you this? It's wild. Is it just that one place? Go here. All right, there we go. So this would be the number of foreign-born people in the United States. Trump presidency in green, Biden in purple. Okay, significant, right? This is foreign-born people in the United States. It skyrocketed. It skyrocketed. So then why did crime fall? Somebody explain that to me. Oh, RTP's bad faith and mental deficient. Okay, then you explain it to me. You explain this to me. Explain how violent crime goes down as immigration goes up. You just hate immigrants. You're just fucking racist. You're just a bigot. There's no statistical data that says that this is a massive problem that we need to take care of when it comes to violent crime. They will tell you every day, Donald Trump is deporting violent criminals. He's making the country more safe, and he's making it so more immigrants can't come into this country. Well, when more immigrants came into this country, it got safer. So maybe the problem is the homegrowns, as Trump calls them. Maybe it's the homegrowns. This doesn't make any fucking sense, does it, mathematically? Immigration goes up, crime goes down. How did it happen? All you guys can do, all anybody can ever do is call names. You're a clown. You're stupid. Explain it then. If I'm so goddamn dumb, someone explain this to me. Just explain it. Without taking a shot at me, explain this. I'm looking in the chat. Do we have an explanation here? But Kelly literally said MS-13 are Satanists. Satan, who the fuck cares what Kelly says? It's crazy. Yes, it's a fact that he said that. But Kelly is right. How'd it happen? No, don't tell me. Where was MS-13 started? Do we know the history of MS-13? Want to find out something cool about MS-13? How was MS-13 formed? Where did it originate, folks? Where did MS-13 originate? What does it say right there? Oh, no, MS-13 started here? It's almost like the Venezuelans came here and we taught them how to do gang violence. Isn't that weird? These violent foreign gangs that are started here? The problem is us. We're the problem. We're more violent than immigrants. When immigrants come here, we teach them to be violent. We train them how to be in gangs. Sorry, it was El Salvadoran. Sorry, not Venezuelan. El Salvadoran gang. And then it grew. Then it became an international gang. But it started right here in Los Angeles. Imagine using Wikipedia as a source. What other source do you want? What other source would we like? How about the Office of Justice? We good with that? MS-13 was formed by Salvadoran immigrants that came to the United States in order to escape the civil war in their own home country. Will this work for you? A .gov, is that good enough for you? Started here in the United States. What's wrong with that one? Do we need another source? Yeah. You guys don't know what the fuck you don't know what the fuck you're looking at. You just allow yourself to be lied to every single day. Every fucking day they lie to you, they tell you to hate immigrants, and you do it because like internally you want to hate immigrants. This is a homegrown problem. We have fentanyl in this country because people in America want fentanyl. We have gang violence in this country because we have gangs in this country. And we have gangs in this country because we don't ever address fucking wealth inequality. And we don't address any inequality. And we have Republicans who are terrified of the word inequality, so they keep electing people who will fight against fixing inequality. So you wind up with neighborhoods that are poor, that have no upward mobility, whose education systems are decimated, and they have no other option but to turn to drugs or drug dealing in order to make money. That's their best option. If they're talking about people that they want to get out of there or they want to have money, a lot of times their best option is to join a gang. What if they just want to be protected? What if they just happen to live in that neighborhood where we have gang violence because we never address wealth inequality? You know where gangs never stop or start? Rich white neighborhoods. Ever. They never start there. It's always poor, underserved, underfunded communities and prison. That's where they start. You never want to address the problem. You always just want to pass the blame on to immigrants. We have gang problems because we have wealth inequality problems. We created MS-13 and now we're sending MS-13. And by the way, you know who didn't have a problem with MS-13 before they started in LA? Fucking El Salvador. El Salvador has a gang problem because of us. We started that shit. And then it grew. We are why these gangs exist. And then these gangs go into other countries and they terrorize other countries. And then those other countries call them terrorists. And they're like, oh, well, they look El Salvadoran. So this must be an El Salvador problem. When the reality is it's a United States problem. We fuck this up all the time. But even then, even with all that violence, even with all this gang violence, because progressives have tried to fix wealth inequality and have tried things besides just locking everybody up, once again, violent crime is precipitously dropping. We are at historic lows. And somehow you've been convinced by this dumbass president and his white nationalist cabinet that we are at an existential crisis and that foreign terrorists are flooding our land. Nope. They're usually not in gangs until they come here. We caused this problem, and you guys are blaming them. Because if we are anything, we are fragile as fuck. Especially white men. We are fragile as fuck. We are the biggest bunch of fucking babies. We don't want to address any of our real issues, and then when something happens, we're like, oh, we should blame them because of the color of their skin. Well, why were those communities underserved in the first place? Why were some of those communities of immigrants, why were they underserved? Why didn't they get funding? Why were they over-policed? Oh, I don't know. Could be white supremacy. Could be all you dumb bitches afraid that somebody with brown skin is going to show up and be smarter than you and do your job better than you because you're lazy and you don't learn and you don't grow and you don't like new science, so you're a bunch of fucking flat earthers. It's really the gangs that are a problem. That's it. No, maybe it's because you turned on YouTube and you thought the fucking world was flat. Like all the scientists were just lying to you, and really, it's Bryce Mitchell that's got the answers. We have an education problem here, and we've got an overconfidence problem, and we got a bunch of people in America who think they're educated who are not. This is simple. If you think that we have a problem with violent crime and that it is growing, you have an education problem. If you think that El Salvador created gangs and then sent them here to take over our country, we have an education problem. If you think fentanyl is a massive crisis in our country, more so than any other country, and you think that's because of immigrants, you have an education problem. If you think that child trafficking, child endangerment, child sexual exploitation, child pornography, if you think we have problems with all of those things and it's because of immigrants, we have an education problem. It is not the immigrants that cause most of our problems. It is us. We just blame the immigrants so we don't have to point to ourselves. We have an education problem in this country, and the dumbest among us, the least educated among us, are leading right now. They own the House, they own the Senate, and they own the White House. And you're proud of it. And it's really, really fucking hard. It is really fucking hard to argue with the uneducated because you guys are so confident in your opinions that facts don't sway them. That's why none of you ever show up. Once again, you can come up here. You can tell me why I'm wrong. You can explain all this to me. Just explain to me how violent crime drops every fucking year and immigration goes up every fucking year. Every year, there's more immigrants in this country than the year before. Every year, our demographics get skewed more towards immigrants than to native-born Americans, and yet violent crime drops. How the fuck does that happen if immigrants are the problem? I just don't. This is how easy it is to dupe you. This is pure hatred. If you're still looking at this number and you're still supporting what Trump is doing, I think you just have too much hatred. Just undo it. Honestly, like, you don't have to join our side. This is why I'm not a Republican anymore, because I can do math. I can read. Data matters to me. Some of you think that your opinion is worth more than data. Some of you think Donald Trump's opinion is worth more than data. Stephen Miller's opinion is worth more than data. Your programming is more important to you than getting the right answer. Immigrants are not causing us violent crime. They are not increasing violent crime here. It's us. It's an American, it's a lazy, entitled American problem. I'm going to play this clip again because some of you guys missed it. But he absolutely fucking nailed this in his State of the State address. Tim Walz here.
In this land of the free and home of the brave, we have university students being swept up, shoved into unmarked vans, and fathers being tossed into Salvadorian gulags without a hint of due process. So I want to be real clear about this. If you say you love freedom, but you don't believe freedom is for everybody, then the thing you love isn't freedom, it's privilege.
You love a scapegoat. You love not having to admit that you fucked it up. These red states love being able to be like, oh, it was the immigrants that were a problem. Like, we're all stupid. We have the lowest education rates here in red states, but it's immigrants that are really the problem. Oh, these Harvard elites that are running the world, they shouldn't be running the world. It should have been us. It's a them problem. It's not us. It's not because we're stupid. Couldn't possibly be that. And then you get a politician who understands who you are, understands you better than you understand you, and understands that all any of you guys really want to hear is that it's not your fault, and that you didn't cause this, and that it was somebody else. And Donald Trump understood who you were. Donald Trump understood you are low IQ, low emotional IQ individuals who don't want to take responsibility for anything that you've done, because that's who he is. He never takes responsibility for anything. And he recognizes that him saying that as a billionaire allows you to think that. And he took advantage of that. And he's still taking advantage of that. So he tells you every day, I love you, you're wonderful, you're what makes America great. All these fuckers are the problem. And then he robs from you, and he steals from you, and he robs from the country, and he hands it over to his billionaire friends, and he cuts taxes and loopholes for all his billionaire friends. He cuts education for your kids. He cuts Medicare and Social Security for you and for your grandparents. He manipulates the stock market in a way that unless you're on the inside, you're not ever going to make any money. And he just robs you blind. But because he tells you it's not your fault, and then he's going to fix it by getting rid of all these pesky immigrants, you're like, yeah, I like that. I like that it's not my fault. I like that. I like that we don't have to blame white Americans. We can just blame these immigrants. They're really the problem. I love that about Donald. He speaks the truth. I like him, man. He has no filter. He says it like it is. No, he doesn't. He says it like you think it is, which is why nobody listens to you. Yeah, that's why your Facebook post gets 4 likes. You're just a dumb guy. He doesn't say it like it is. He's just telling you what you want to hear so that he can get away with robbing the country blind, and you're letting him do it. Yeah, just all because he just blames the Marxist, communist, leftist, woke immigrants. Yeah, all that. That's the one. Says it like it is. Jeremy says, thanks to you and Jay for all the hard work. I tune in every day. Here's a joke. When my psychiatrist diagnosed me with a German sausage phobia, I feared the worst. Sherry said, thank you. Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it. Casey said, Stephen Miller equals Pee Wee Sherman. That's good. Who was that? Who wrote that one? Casey? That's solid. Looks said, I see a lot of potential. FWU? What's FW? Christina says, I wish I can give more. However, I think RTP's voice is very vital to save our country, and I'm going to do all I can. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. And Kenny said, for the hardworking mods. Let's make sure I'm caught up here. Text. What do you mean do per? I just showed you the that is per capita. Text wants me to do per capita now. Text, you want to see per capita? Google it yourself. Google violent crime rates for immigrants versus American born, and you'll see that American born citizens commit more violent acts. So there you go. You can do your own research. I don't do that for you, Text. Text is just a fucking Text is a racist that pays me to read his racist shit because Text is exactly who I'm talking about. Text is exactly that guy who can look at the information we just gave and be like, no, for real, it really is the immigrants, though. You're just mediocre, Text. I'm sorry that. Here's Trump lying again. He was asked in an interview yesterday if he would consider a millionaire tax. Now, I don't like a millionaire tax either because I think it's generic. I think that we just need to have a better structure for a tax policy. I'm fine with millionaires paying more, but here was his answer.
And then secondly, would you support...
I'm not trying to insult people. I'm not trying to get people on my side by insulting them. If I point out that you're racist and I say that you being racist is a problem, I don't want racists on my side. So it's true. Tex is like a legitimate racist, just so we're clear on this. Tex is an admitted racist. Tex has told me he is a racist. Tex is very racist. He is a white nationalist who wants a white ethno-state. I would be careful defending Tex because you don't like me. Tex is just a racist. I don't know what to tell you. He says it himself. So I'm sorry that you're offended by that, but that's who he is.
A millionaire tax.
I think it would be very disruptive because a lot of the millionaires would leave the country. You know, in the old days, they left states. They go from one state to the other. Now with transportation so quick and so easy, they leave countries. You'll lose a lot of money if you do that. And other countries that have done it have lost a lot of people. They lose their wealthy people.
So that's not true. First of all, people do flee states. And let me give you some examples of what happens when a state taxes the rich and then the rich flee. I grew up in Utah, and people in Silicon Valley, they loved it in San Francisco. It was an expensive place to live. They loved it up there. And then the cost of living gets more expensive. So that means that as you raise the cost of living, that means the amount of money that you have to pay to get anything done raises. Any sort of public service, the people who fix the roads, it's more expensive now to hire them. It's more expensive to hire a police officer. It's more expensive to hire teachers. It's more expensive to hire librarians. It's more expensive to hire city planners. It's more expensive to do everything because the cost of living is more expensive, so people need more money to live. So San Francisco, the cost of living gets higher, which means you have to tax more. And then all these people are like, oh, fuck San Francisco. I'm moving to where? I'm going to go to Utah. And Utah did what they called the Silicon Slopes. They took Adobe's one of them. I'm trying to remember who else has come there recently. WeWork, I think, had some stuff there. But let me show you what happened in Utah. If we look at the cost of living here, is this by year? Let me make sure this is the right one. Here we go. This is what happened to the cost of living. So in the late 2000s, we saw the cost of living. This is the average cost of living in Utah. So we started about 2021 is when you started to see people come into Utah. You can see that the cost of living from 2011 to 2020, I'd say probably 2019, 2020, went up from 220 to 251. Now look what's happened in the last couple of years. Just the cost of living went from $258,000. We're now up to $320,000. Because what happened is that Utah gave all these people tax breaks, and then they came in and they bought the houses, and then that raised the price of houses, and then they built new houses that were more expensive because the cost of labor goes up. And now in Utah, we have an affordability crisis. In Utah, you've got a problem where people who are school teachers can't afford to live in Salt Lake City or in Utah County. And so now they're having to travel from further out. They have to live in places like Tooele and places like Eagle Mountain. And then those places get populated. And then it becomes unaffordable to live in Tooele and Eagle Mountain. Then you have to move further out. And so every time you do this, every time you give these tax cuts to these massive corporations, it increases the cost of living. And if you don't increase teacher pay, if you don't increase the pay for firemen, policemen, then you have problems. And what else do you have a problem with? With housing affordability, you also see increased numbers of unhoused people. You see increased drug abuse. So now Salt Lake City, which you'll hear it. It's hilarious. They say like Salt Lake City used to be so nice downtown until all these libs showed up. It wasn't the libs that showed up. It was people from California, but they showed up to pay less in taxes. And they don't want to pay more in taxes. And they came here because they want to pay less in taxes. So the state of Utah can't raise their taxes to help house people who are unhoused, to help pay teachers more so that they don't have to move further and further away, to help increase the bottom. That's the problem. We're having an affordability crisis in Florida. There's an affordability crisis in Texas. There's an affordability crisis in Arizona, where I live. And all of this is flight from states that tax more. The reason people wound up in Silicon Valley in the first place, the reason people wound up in Northern California in the first place is they wanted to escape establishment with high taxes. You had the gold rush of 1849 where people went to make a fortune. Then you had the dot-com bubble or dot-com movement in Silicon Valley, and people moved there. And you had people moving to LA because of Hollywood, but also because of the weather and transportation and shipping. And as people move places to avoid taxes, inevitably the cost goes up, and then you have to tax them more. It's a weird thing that Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand. So what Donald Trump is saying right now is that we can't tax these people or they will leave. Well, where did our manufacturing go? We're trying to bring people back right now. Why? Because we didn't tax appropriately. These things leave. It is incorrect to say that if we tax people, they will leave. Where are they going to go, first of all? I mean, I've thought about leaving the country, living in a different country. I would like to experience other countries, but I know I would have to start over. Like, even with this job, what am I going to do? Live in Spain and discuss American politics? I don't know. Sometimes the job doesn't translate. So it's a lie, though. But one of the other things that he said is that when countries do this, it kills their GDP. Switzerland did this. Switzerland has a millionaire tax. And if we copied their plan, they saw a 1.9% increase in GDP growth. If we had a 1.9% increase in GDP, that's $357 billion in revenue. In other words, let's see, 3, 6, 7, 5 times more than Elon Musk has saved us. Take all this work that you guys love Elon Musk did. If we just taxed millionaires, if we had a millionaire tax, we would have 5 times the revenue that Elon Musk has saved us. They lie to you all the time. They tell you they can't. This is another thing that they do. They tell you guys, the working class, that they can't tax the rich people because the rich people will leave. And then they tell you that other countries have tried this and it didn't work. And then you look at the other countries who tried it and it's like, oh, it did work. There are some other countries that tried this, like Spain, where it was kind of indifferent. I think Germany did it, and they saw a small GDP growth or small GDP drop. There are ways to do it. There are ways not to do it. But this idea that if you tax people more, they'll leave, it's just not true. Where are they going to go? Especially now that we've alienated ourselves from all the trade partners, where are they going to go? Nobody wants to work with them anymore. At 12:41. Kevin O'Leary is not taking things well with the Trump administration. Kevin O'Leary is really upset that Trump is backing down on the tariffs. This is your guy, MAGA. This is your guy. This is the one that you guys have all been saying what Kevin O'Leary said. Now, Trump doesn't agree with you anymore. Scott Bessent doesn't agree with you anymore. They've abandoned that whole tariff idea they sold you on, where they were going to pay for everything with tariffs. They've completely abandoned that. They got their dick kicked in by Canada, Mexico, every other country in the world, and China. We have 0 new trade agreements. 0. We had a trade war for nothing. We had a tariff war for nothing. 0 new trade agreements, and China's saying we don't fucking care. Kevin O'Leary, he's here for you guys, though. He wants to double down on it. Why did Trump's wife blink during foreplay? There wasn't enough time. Thanks, hey, howdy. Johnny Longball says, take my money, balls. We're back to balls. I love it. Namashi said, today's my birthday. Happy birthday, Namashi. Namashi? Yeah. I always forget if I say it correctly.
Nobody invests in more small businesses in America than I do. 62% of jobs created in America.
Which also isn't true. He does that thing Trump does. There's lots of people that invest more money in small business than Kevin O'Leary, including everybody on Shark Tank.
America are by businesses 5 to 500 employees. I'm their advocate. I have hundreds of cases of how China has screwed them over by getting them to 5 million in sales and domestic revenue, then stealing their products, dumping them back in the American market, and the molds that actually are in China. They run the American product during the day and the Chinese knockoff at night. I live this every day, and I'm just telling you, if we don't address this at some point now, because there's no way to
Motherfucker. I saw it. Sorry, that's 2 in one day. The idea that I noticed he doesn't talk about Amazon. These businesses he's investing in, they are far more likely to get their IP ripped off by Amazon than China. This is another one of those examples where the Republicans have to make another country or people who look differently than you or different than you the enemy, when the real enemy to starting a business and having your business idea ripped off in this country is a monopoly. If you have a product that you make and you want to sell it, you probably have to sell it on Amazon. And if it's good, Amazon's going to try and steal it. If you have a mom and pop shop, who's your biggest competition? It's going to be Walmart. It's going to be Target. It's going to be Staples. It's going to be Office Max. It's going to be Home Depot. It's going to be Lowe's. It's going to be one of those. If you are a business owner in America, the biggest danger to you is monopolies inside of America. It's not China.
dispute it. You can't use the WTO. You can't litigate in China. They raise money in our markets without even complying by GAAP. I'm just saying, wait a second. Let's just level the playing field. So I'm not worried about how Chinese feel about anything. I love the Chinese people. I want to do business there. The government cheats, steals, robs, and does not play by any rules.
And that's fucking stupid too. The Chinese government are not the people who steal your ideas. It would be Chinese companies, Chinese manufacturers. I don't even know. Like, we don't even live in the same reality, Kevin O'Leary and the rest of the world. Amazon steals your shit. He doesn't complain about Amazon. Walmart steals your shit. He doesn't complain about Walmart. Manufacturers in China steal your idea. He blames the government. It's always a boogeyman. And why are they choosing the Chinese government? So that they could be like, oh, no, it's not you, it's your government. We have a problem with communism, which they don't do in China. They don't do communism. They're all just fucking lying to you every single day. Do you not get tired of them just not telling you the truth? It's fine if intellectual property theft is a problem. But it's not the Chinese government who's taking your intellectual property. It's Chinese manufacturers. It's Chinese capitalists. It's people who are running businesses in China. It is not the government. What's the government doing? Stealing your idea? And then what are they doing with it? Selling it to the manufacturers? Is that the claim here?
I don't think 125% is enough.
Ross, are you convinced by that point? Are you convinced? Because earlier, Kevin,
once again,
I want to hear from Ross now. Kevin, Ross, go ahead.
I don't consider the debate
Nina.
over whether China does things that are bad to American businesses. We all agree with that. It's how we deal with it, which you don't want to answer the question, which is tarnishing the American brand globally. This isn't just about China. You're Canadian And the Canadians couldn't be more angry at us. Now, I live in.
I see they don't try to stop it. Our government doesn't try and stop it either, though. That's the point here. Can we just, at any point in this administration, are we ever going to fix the shit at home? All we're doing is blaming everybody else for our problems. Do you understand? That's what this administration does. They just point everywhere else. If you want if you want the middle class to regain its foothold, you got to go after monopolies. You got to go after big tech companies. You have to go against the manipulators that are right here, the homegrown manipulators. If you want to stop violent crime, if you want to stop hurting children, you got to go after the people in America that are doing that. But that's the problem with people like Kevin O'Leary and Donald Trump. They don't ever address real problems. They just blame every other country for our fucking problems. Fix it. Tear Amazon apart. Amazon should be ripped apart. Google should be ripped apart. Facebook should be ripped apart. Those monopolies should not exist. Rip them apart. That's why China does so well, because they don't have 4 companies running fucking everything. That's why they're beating our ass. You talk about like, oh, we want to create competition. Well, that's what China's doing, because China doesn't allow you to just be a monopoly. They're a lot harder on their monopolies than we are. We got to be hard. And again, China's not perfect. They still allow monopolies, but not like we do.
In California, and the Canadians are like, oh, we're just not coming to California now. And I can't tell you how much money in California we make off Canadian tourism. Now, tourism has gone negative here in the United States from foreigners because it's tarnished our brand the way we're handling it. We're the richest country in the world, and the same small businesses you represent now are getting screwed with these tariffs because they have to pay them. Have you actually talked to all your business owners recently? Because I talk to them every day in my job, and I have over 8,000 clients, and tons of them are business owners. So I can tell you, this is we're about to see dramatic increase in costs across America. Americans have never had things disappearing from the shelves since COVID. Okay, so do you want to have a world where you can't find socks? You know, like, we're not going to start manufacturing socks in America. So it's just, we have to start growing up.
I don't get you guys. Like, pointing out where other countries do better than us is not defending them. You guys are just fucking morons. I don't know. You said China did a good thing. I'm mad now. America great, China bad. That's why it's easy to dupe you. That's why it's easy to allow these monopolies to control our country, is because of you guys. If you like, you should be able to look at people who think differently than you and take the stuff that they do well and learn from it. We should take the things that China does well and learn from it. But you guys are just like, America best, America greatest. Anything China does bad.
The world isn't like in 1920 anymore, and like the manufacturing that they want to bring back to America isn't the manufacturing we want.
I know we have to go. Ross, I know we have to go, but I have to. I hear you. I know we have to go, Kevin. I'm going to ask you to be succinct in your final point, so don't yell at me. Go ahead.
First of all, let's set the record straight. I have multi-nationalities. My whole family's American. I care about every business I invest in America. You're weak when you say we can't deal with this now. Be strong.
I don't have an answer for any of that. You're weak. I'm strong. But anybody who says I don't say anything mean about China, I dare any conservative that's in here to say something about China, say something bad about China that I haven't criticized on this show directly. I don't think any of you could give a criticism of China that I haven't given on this show. I don't think you could.
And get ready.
And again, I'll invite you to come up here, but none of you will, because you're all cowards. I would debate it, but I don't want to debate a dumb guy. Sure, that's what it is.
Ready for the fight of your life to settle this issue with China. Cheating, stealing, ripping off American IP.
Amazon.
Enough is enough. It's time to deal with it now.
Let's deal with it.
Have some backbone, my friend. Show some strength. That is the American brand. That is the American entrepreneur. You're weak.
All right.
Overpopulated. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I've not. What do you mean they're overpopulated? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Where we got? China does tariffs. Now we do. Yeah, I don't have a problem with tariffs. I'm just pointing out that this is like I'm a 49ers fan. And this is like me saying that the Chiefs suck or the Eagles suck. I'm like, oh man, not saying the Eagles suck. Excuse me, that's a better way. The Eagles won the Super. Oh man, the tush push is really cool. Man, it's nice. It must be nice to have a dual threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts. That's really cool. Man, I love the Eagles. They really have creative play calling. I wish the 49ers would do that. And you guys are the other 49ers fans that are like, oh, yeah, dude, of course, yeah. You're going to talk about the Eagles. Yeah, you fucking traitor. No, I want to do the things that they do well. I want my team to do well. And then the things that my team does well, I want them to keep doing them well. I just want to learn from them. Again, nobody's got anything in here. Like, I've criticized China a million times. Yes, you should copy the way China does some things. Absolutely. Why would you not copy the people that are beating you? Why would you not copy the places where China's better than us? Why would we not copy it? It's silly. Here's the real question. How come nobody copies the way that we're running things? How come nobody in the world copies our healthcare system? How come nobody else in the world is copying the way that we run our stock market? How come nobody in the world is copying our tax policy? How come everybody seems to everybody that's trying to be on the come up? How come nobody's copying us? That's the real question you should ask. How come nobody wants to be America? How come nobody wants to do it this way? What do you think? We do copy slave labor, gorilla balls. And I've talked about China's slave labor. I've talked about it multiple times. And I've also talked about our slave labor in the United States. I've talked about both. Do you talk about gorilla balls? Tell me about the slave labor in the United States. Give me an example of slave labor that's happening in the United States. Are you aware that we have slave labor in the United States? This guy's probably the same kind of kid saying Joe Biden is a shape of a knife. No, I was a Republican kid. I was raised just like you. It's just that my brain functions and I can think critically and read and access data. As the difference between me and most of you. Why didn't Trump's wife blink? Oh, I read that one. All right, we gotta get going here soon. Bree says the next time you eat a big bowl of mac and cheese, stir it and think of me. I don't think I could ever eat mac and cheese without thinking of you, Bree. I don't think that'll ever happen to me ever again in my life. Let's see. Carol said, thanks for showing facts and educating everyone every day. Terry said, have you heard that Cenk has formed his own super PAC along with Ro Khanna and says he's the future of the Democratic Party? Cenk can fuck all the way off. And Ro Khanna can too. I don't care. They're not the future of the party. Those are both people who are losing their brand right now. Now they're like, now's the best time. Chris said, always great content. Thank you. Jeremy said, thanks, Jay, for all the hard work. I did that one. All right. Did I miss any? Push pop, I got that one. IFW, I fuck with you. Okay, thank you. Sorry. How'd I miss that one? Nobody ever texts me that. China and America have the same rate of forced labor, 3.5 per 100K. Thank you, Humby. Yeah, there's the real problem that we have with China is that none of you recognize that we do, like the stuff China does bad, we also do. The stuff China does good, we don't do. That's why China's beating us. Like, this is, we are losing momentum. We are blowing a 30-point lead. China is just relying on us less and less and less, and we're not prepared for that. We have not prepared for the time when China would surpass us, which now looks like it's going to be like 2040-ish. That China's economy will be bigger than ours in like 2040. Every single year, China's reliance on the United States has gone lower and lower, and every year our reliance on China has gone up and up and up. And it's just this idea of American exceptionalism. You've been told that America's the greatest. You think that other countries look up to us. They don't. They want to beat us, and they can. The only place they can't beat us is in a war, and that does make me nervous with Trump. Like, can Trump take a loss? Can he take a loss like a man? I don't think so. I don't think any of you guys can either. I don't think there's any humility in the GOP. I think when we start losing, you guys are going to start fighting wars. And I remember when I was in the GOP, that's what we did. That's what Bush did. Remember Bush had like, outside of Trump, Bush had the lowest like first 90-day stock market loss. And what did we do right after that? We went to war. Just got the fuck out of there. We're going to war, baby. And that's what resurrected the economy, allegedly. And what's Trump doing? He's crashing the stock market, and he's increasing military spending. He's increasing drone strikes. He's increasing military presence. He's doing nothing to make sure that the military-industrial complex can... Here's the reality. Donald Trump said he would end these wars. And the reason Donald Trump's not ending any of these wars is because our GDP relies on it, and our economy relies on it. And the only reason that we have any semblance of a GDP right now and any semblance of like growth in the economy is because of war. Donald Trump can't end the war in Ukraine. He can't end the war in Israel because that's where we get money. That's jobs. That's GDP. That's income. That's money we get from other countries. Everything else in this country is a little bit fucked. That's the reality. Donald Trump found out when he came into office the same thing every other president figured out, is that our country is kind of great because of military. And we sell the military, and we use our outsized force to make sure that other countries can't catch up with us. We make agreements with all these other countries so they can't develop weapons too, so we become a monopoly of military equipment. That's the reality. That's the only thing we're good at. We're really good at war. We're really good at putting our own people in prison. Pretty fucking good at racism. Pretty bad at developing a middle class. We're horrible at educating. We're horrible at keeping pregnant mothers alive. We're bad at most things, but we're really fucking good at war, and we're really fucking good at prison and punishment, and that's about it. And that's what we see the GOP doubling down on. That's what they'll continue to double down on. So you guys will double down on, and just expect your poll numbers to keep dropping. And look, if we're being honest about like what I think best case scenario is, I hope you guys keep fucking it up until the midterms. Because the truth is, like, we need a change in this country. We desperately need a mandate for change. You guys keep saying you have a mandate for change, which you don't. You won one of the closest elections in my lifetime. You don't have a mandate for change, which is why you're not enacting any change. But at the end of Donald Trump and at the end of the dumbest administration in the history of the world, everything is going to be fucked up, and Americans are going to be broke. A lot of Americans are going to be broke, and we're going to need help, and we're going to need handouts, and those handouts can't go to companies. Those handouts will be forced to go to people. And so I think we're going to get universal health care, and I think we're going to get better education, and I think we're going to look at these other countries who are accelerating past us, and we're going to say, you know what, maybe it's time we copy them. Maybe we're not the envy of the world anymore. I think you guys are going to fuck this up. I think I'm going to look back at the Trump years and be a little bit grateful for how goddamn dumb he was and how many goddamn morons followed him and just repeated his shit every day. I hope you guys do repeat his shit every day. There's not enough of you anymore. Just like the first Trump administration, there's not enough of you to win re-election. The only way that Trump stays in office is if he declares martial law. And then a lot of you are going to lose access to your guns because I don't know if you know this. If you declare martial law, you don't get your guns anymore. Eventually, he'll piss you off too, but not before you lose power. I got to get going. It's 1 o'clock hard cutoff. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for Friendly Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time. We may cut Friendly Friday tomorrow, just because I've got a long drive. We'll probably cut Friendly Friday tomorrow, but I'll make it up to you. You can catch us anywhere on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed there. The subscriptions are free. We also have paid memberships as well if you'd like to support us in that way. I didn't add up the gift goal, but many of you were very generous, and we did hit that gift goal. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. And for all the Republicans here, thanks for being here. I hope you come back tomorrow. One of these days, one of you guys is going to get some courage. We're going to come up. We're going to have a nice conversation.
You are fake news.
How about that? I hit that one on accident. You Republicans are fake news. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.